The greatest 3 days of college football gets underway today on ABC Sports. At 4:30 Eastern Time in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, two teams with big chips on their shoulders hook up in the desert, with the winner making its case for a share of a split national championship. The one-loss Oregon Ducks from the Pac-10, led by courageous senior quarterback Joey Harrington, try to stop the Colorado Buffaloes, a team on one of the greatest late-season runs in college football history. In prime time, down in the Big Easy, it's the Nokia Sugar Bowl as the hometown LSU Tigers face off against Big Ten champ Illinois. There should be no shortage of offensive fireworks as senior quarterbacks Rohan Davey of LSU and Kurt Kittner of Illinois try to match each other pass for pass. And coming up next, we get started with the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl and the mighty Michigan Wolverines taking on the talented Volunteers of Tennessee in a battle of two proud programs, rich in winning tradition. The elite teams in college football are lined up and ready to play. No more computers, no more polls. It's time for the best to be determined on the playing field. A look at the Citrus Bowl. A crowd of about 70,000 people on hand to watch this matchup. The two coaches, Phil Fulmer and Lloyd Carr, preparing to get their teams going. Coming off losses, perhaps a little disappointing. Welcome here to the Disneyland Resort in California. John Saunders and Terry Bowden. First of all, Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to you as well as we get you ready next 3 days for the national championship game in the Rose Bowl.
Happy New Year, John. And it's been 54 years since teams other than the Pac-10 and the Big Ten have played in the Rose Bowl. But because of the Bowl Championship Series this year on January 3rd, we're going to have a national championship.
But first, Tennessee against Michigan. As we mentioned, both teams looking to end the season on a high note.
They sure are. They mirror each other in their teams. They have strong, rock-solid defenses. They like to run the ball. But Tennessee has Casey Clausen at quarterback. He's better. Travis Steedham is the better running back. I think Tennessee gets the nod.
All right, some games already underway here on New Year's Day. And this one, remember, last year it was Ohio State and South Carolina. It is once again. And Phil Petty, 7 yards to Brian Scott on this one. Andrew Pinnock also has a touchdown run. And Petty has another touchdown pass of 50 yards. They missed the extra point, but South Carolina leads Jim Tressel coming off that win against Michigan that made him a hero, but down 20-0. Oklahoma over Arkansas. Defensive struggle here, 7-0. Nate Hibble with a 1-yard touchdown run. Arkansas had one first down in the first half, 28 yards total. And Virginia Tech leading Florida State 3-0 is the score right now. Rematch of the '99 national championship. Your dad in this game, not used to being in this game.
Well, 2 years ago, he had a better football team. But this year, I think Virginia Tech has the best football team.
Of course, we will be here throughout the day, throughout the week, getting you ready for the national championship. Right now, let's join Sean McDonough.
John, and Happy New Year to you. Michigan and Tennessee have won more than 1,500 games combined and 17 national championships. They play in two of the three largest stadiums in college football before crowds of more than 100,000. They are led by two of the three winningest active coaches and are serenaded by two of the great fight songs in all of sports. Michigan and Tennessee have much in common, but in a combined 227 years of college football history, the Wolverines and Volunteers have never played each other. Today, Michigan and Tennessee go head-to-head for the first time on a gorgeous New Year's Day 2002 at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl in Orlando. Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Ed Cunningham. Delighted to have you with us. These programs have much in common over their histories, and they have much in common this season as well. And Michigan and Tennessee, each with a record-breaking performer on offense this year. For Michigan, the great wide receiver, Marquise Walker, a school record 81 receptions this year.
And really burst on the scene last year, was kind of hidden behind the great David Terrell, a first-round draft pick of the Chicago Bears. He does everything for Michigan, from blocking punts. He had two this year, one against Washington, one against Wisconsin, to making the big play when they need it. And who can forget that catch, the greatest catch in college football all season. Not only did he break the single season record with 81 receptions, he became Michigan's all-time leading receiver past the great Anthony Carter. We should expect a lot out of him today.
Michigan is 8-3, but just 2-2 over the last 4 games. They come in off a downer, the loss to Ohio State in the regular season finale that cost them a share of the Big Ten title. LSU dealt Tennessee a real downer as well in the SEC championship game, costing the Volunteers a chance to play for the national championship. but Tennessee is still 10-2, the favorite here today, and they have a record breaker of their own in Travis Stevens.
Another guy who was hidden behind Jamal Lewis and Travis Henry the first 4 years of his career. Got ready for this year. Wasn't quite sure how much he was going to run the ball. Ran it a lot more than he expected. Travis Henry, 1,464 yards. Runs so very hard. Michigan, they're going to have to gang tackle him today to slow him down.
A spectacular day in Central Florida. The temperature in the mid-60s under sunny skies. Time now for our national anthem at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl.
Of our national anthem, as performed by the U.S. Naval Aviation Choir.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose dark stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the royal red flag, the pump's bursting in and gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the
We'll be back for the opening kickoff from the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl, Michigan and Tennessee, right after this.
Let the river run, let all the dreamers wake the nation. Come, the day has just begun. It's asking for the taking, trembling, shaking. Oh, my heart is aching. We're coming to the edge, running on the water, coming through the fire, suns and dawn. Let the river run. Let all the dreamers wake the nation. Through the darkening dawn.
Back in Orlando, let's head down to the field now and welcome in the other member of our broadcast team today, Leslie Goodell. Happy New Year, Leslie.
And Happy New Year to you as well, Sean. You know, these two teams have taken two different approaches to preparing for today's game. Michigan left Ann Arbor after taking a break for finals and arrived here as a team on December 21st. It's something they started doing during their national championship year in 1997, and they've done it ever since. Tennessee, on the other hand, stayed on campus for practice, and then they got a short break for Christmas and all came individually on December 25th. So it's yet to be seen which approach is going to work better. Another thing to consider, Michigan hasn't played a game since November 24th, so they are well rested. Tennessee, on the other hand, played the SEC championship game on December 8th, so they're not quite as rested as Michigan is. It's yet to be seen if that will play a factor in today's game as well. Sean?
Thank you, Leslie. Just under a capacity crowd, but more than 60,000 in attendance here in Orlando for the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl, and a big question all week in preparation for this game, and Leslie talked about the differing approaches to preparation. The motivation level of these teams. We've mentioned so many similarities. One of them, disappointing losses the last time out. Michigan would have been in a BCS game had it defeated Ohio State in the regular season finale. They would have shared the Big Ten title with Illinois. Instead, they wound up with neither, but they're happy to be here. And of course, Tennessee thought it would be playing for the national championship. Instead, they're back at the Florida Citrus Bowl.
But, you know, when we talked to the players and coaches on both sides, it was very clear that because of the opponent that they're playing, Michigan, Tennessee have never met, that both teams have had good practices. Both coaches coaches worked their teams extremely hard getting ready for this game. Tennessee had a couple of days of two-a-days. I don't think either team's going to come out flat for this game.
Lloyd Carr is a Tennessee native. Lived his first 10 years in Northeast Tennessee. Churchill, Tennessee. At age 10, he and his family moved to the Detroit area, and for the most part, he's been a Michigan man ever since. Michigan won the toss and deferred, so Tennessee will receive the opening kickoff, and Hayden Epstein, the senior from Cardiff, California, will kick it off for the Wolverines. Leonard Scott and Derek Tinsley are back deep for the Volunteers. Scott, one of the most dangerous return men in the country. 72 career kickoff returns. Only Willie Gault has brought back more kickoffs in Tennessee history, and they think he's the fastest wide receiver they've had in the program since Willie Gault. He's an SEC sprint champion, and he'll get a chance if he wants to bring it back from 6 yards deep. Instead, he takes a knee. Good kickoff by Epstein with the wind at his back. Casey Clausen is the quarterback for Tennessee. 2,969 yards passing this season, the third highest single season total in Tennessee history, and the impressive touchdown to interception ratio of 22-9.
Whole key for Casey Clausen very early on. Tennessee likes to get in a three-step drop rhythm. He's so much better when he throws on time. Michigan's going to play a little press, try to get him out of that rhythm.
The fullback Bartholomew offset from Travis Stevens. Clausen out throwing and completing to Kelly Washington, the 22-year-old freshman from Stevens City, Virginia. The lineup's brought to you by Capital One. The rest of the Tennessee backs and receivers: Bartholomew, a terrific blocker for Stevens. John Finlayson is the tight end. Outstanding big play wide receivers in Stallworth and Washington. And the veteran offensive line: Coleman, Weary, Wells, Smith, and Offenhusel from left to right. Clausen pressured, and the pass incomplete. Along the far sideline for Will Bartholomew. Clausen was hit as he threw the ball by Sean Lazarus, and there is the offensive line. Coleman and Weary are seniors. Wells and Smith are sophomores, and Offenhusel is a junior.
Really, it's strength against strength with Fred Weary and Chavis Smith in there going against that really good front of Michigan. Michigan very strong in the middle. They have four guys that can roll through there. Grant Bowman, Hoyer, Lazarus, and Freisinger, all very good. They'll rotate and keep them fresh. A three-man line early on second and long by Michigan.
Second and 10 from the 30. Stevens with his first carry, and he gets nothing. Stevens averaged 122 yards per game. It's an outstanding Michigan defense. The front four: Dan Rumashek, Norman Hoyer, Sean Lazarus, and Shante Orr. Larry Foote, the Big Ten Conference Defensive Player of the Year, the middle linebacker, with Eric Brackens, a Tennessee native, and Victor Hobson. And in the secondary, Marlon Jackson, a true freshman, steps in at one corner as the starter. Todd Howard, the other. Cato June and Charles Drake are the safeties for defensive coordinator Jim Herman, a 16-year veteran of the Wolverine coaching staff. He had a school record 46 sacks this year. Pass caught over the middle. Bobby Graham, first down, lost the football, but the Volunteers got it back and gained yardage on the fumble. Jason Witten, the tight end, hustling downfield to recover the Graham fumble. And the combination of the play and fumble results in a gain to the 45 of Michigan.
Little motion. There's Graham coming over from the weak side to the strong side. Just ran. He was single covered there by Marlon Jackson, a true freshman. Jackson does a nice job of getting in there and ripping that ball out. Graham was a little questionable coming in here. Strained his groin in Sunday's practice. Needs to lock that ball away. Jackson beat on the pass, but a heads-up play by a true freshman to get his hands in there and rip it out.
Gain of 25. And they pitch it. And looking to throw is Kelly Washington, the former quarterback, on target for another first down. Dante Stallworth the catch. Washington was a quarterback at the start of the year, was alternating his time between quarterback and wide receiver. Then when Stallworth broke his wrist in the opener against Syracuse, Washington made the move to receiver full time and had a freshman record 64 catches for Tennessee.
And what a really nice job by Dante Stallworth. He was going to try to work a deep route to the middle of the field, and because The defense, Charles Drake, the safety, stayed at home. He had to break off his route, and Washington read back.
Now they hand it off to Stallworth as he came in motion. Randy Sanders, the offensive coordinator for Tennessee, into his bag of tricks early. A gain to the 30-yard line. Larry Foote and Victor Hobson made the tackle. It's a gain of 2. And really a page out of the Michigan playbook. The Tennessee defensive players were telling us when you play Michigan's offense, you have to watch out for the reverses and the throwbacks and that sort of thing.
And this is not something Tennessee has done most of the year. Of course, with those injuries early on, they also lost Eric Parker for a little while after that Syracuse game. Now they've got their full complement of receivers, all very good big athletes, getting them in the mix, carrying the ball and throwing it with Kelly Washington.
Second down, Clausen throwing, completing again. Excellent throw and catch by Eric Parker. And he's out of bounds inside the 9-yard line. Cato June pushed him out, but it's a gain of 22. First and goal, Tennessee.
And we see right away what Casey Clausen does so well. 1, 2, 3, ball's gone right on that third step. And that's why Cato June, the free safety, just a little bit late. If Clausen doesn't throw this ball on time, June would be able to get over there and make a play out on Eric Parker again. Missed some time earlier in the year after the Syracuse game. So good to have a guy back. Over 100 career catches for Parker. Someone Clausen can really count on when he runs those routes.
Eric Tinsley checks in now, lines up offset. Clausen lost the handle and falls with the ball back at the 11-yard line. It'll be second and goal from the 11. Clausen, a sophomore from Northridge, California, with impressive 2-year totals that are remarkably similar to the numbers posted over his first 2 seasons at Tennessee by Peyton Manning. When you're on pace to match Peyton Manning or exceed what he did at Tennessee, you're on a great pace.
And really, if you watch them physically, he throws the ball a lot like Peyton Manning, has a lot of the same mannerisms in his play fakes. They look very similar in physical stature as well as height and weight.
For the end zone, incomplete. Over the head of Kelly Washington with Todd Howard in coverage. Talk about the comparisons between Peyton Manning and Casey Clausen. Here are the numbers over their first 2 seasons. Identical completion percentage. Clausen has actually thrown for more yards and touchdown passes than Peyton did. Clausen with 5 more interceptions.
What's interesting is when you go back to last year when he took over the starter, that was as a true freshman, did not have 1 year on campus, although he came in early for spring ball. Very impressive for a true freshman to have that type of season.
Third and goal. He's flushed from the pocket and sacked back at the 15-yard line. Larry Stevens with the sack. Sean Lazarus with the initial contact. And Michigan continues to have a record-setting season with the sacks. We mentioned they led the nation and set a school record with 46 during the regular season.
Lazarus lined up right over the center. This was a matchup that Jim Herman, the defensive coordinator, liked. He thought Scott Wells, the center from Tennessee, a little bit undersized. Lazarus, very active, 6'4", nearly 300 pounds. Very nice job just on a one-on-one block by Lazarus to beat it and get the pressure.
32-yard field goal try up and good by Alex Walls, the junior from Bristol, Virginia, who's now made 10 of his last 11 field goals. An impressive opening drive for the Volunteers. Ends in a field goal and a 3-0 lead for Tennessee.
Ho, ho, ho!
Oh, I hope you didn't put all those on the credit card.
Yeah, why?
Do you know what those interest charges are going to do to us?
Don't worry. I used our new Capital One No Hassle card.
Fed up with exploding credit card rates?
To the neighbors!
With Capital One's new No Hassle Platinum card, you get 1 low fixed rate and none of the hassle.
Gotta tell Steve and Laura about Capital One.
What's in your wallet?
Bold, powerful, and a great way to get to work. Dodge.
Some see in 8-foot walls a not-so-subtle message to keep out. 4. Others see it as a minor obstacle to an invigorating day at the course. Here you go. Oh! That it's good! The perfect accompaniment to such an outing, Taco Bell. For a little green, you can indulge in great tasting, high-quality fare no matter who you are.
Excuse me, young man.
Think I'll play through.
Hey!
Score a crunchy taco and bean burrito together, just 98 cents. Now with better beef, beans, and tortillas. For a tasty deal, think outside the bun.
If we're quiet, if we listen, we can hear houses breathe. Bad houses hate our warmth, our humanness.
Stephen King's Rose Red, January 27th at 9/8 Central on ABC. Viewer discretion advised.
The Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Capital One, who asks, what's in your wallet? Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. Edge Clean Shaving Gel. It helps lift dirt and oil every time you shave. And Black Hawk Down, coming soon to a theater near you.
In the first drive of the football game, Tennessee went 65 yards in 11 plays. Alex Walls kicked a 32-yard field goal, and now he'll kick off for Tennessee. Todd Howard and Charles Drake are back deep for the Wolverines. Standing at the goal line. Very high kickoff, but short into a slight breeze. Taken at the 11-yard line by Todd Howard. Looks down as he tries to make a cut at the 20. They'll mark him down at the 21-yard line. Mark Jones made the tackle. Now the Capital One starting lineup on offense for Michigan. The quarterback is John DeVar, the sophomore from Cudahy, Wisconsin. He threw for 17 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, but struggled over the second half of the season.
First completion is the most important. When we talk to Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator, he's going to try to get him an easy throw early so we can get into a rhythm. They went back to basics, tried to get him to forget about those 4 interceptions he threw against Ohio State to end out the regular season.
And off to the tailback, Chris Perry, and he's banged down for no gain. It's been a sputtering Michigan offense this season. They are 70th in the nation in total offense in Division 1A. B.J. Askew is their leading rusher with Perry in the backfield. Bill Seymour, the tight end, is their third leading receiver. Bellamy and Walker are the wideouts. And up front, Tony Pape, Jonathan Goodwin, Kurt Anderson, Dave Petrozello, and Demetrius Solomon. Goodwin, the only returning starter from last year's Michigan team. The other 4 offensive line starters from last year have all started games in the NFL this year as rookies. Chris Perry carries again, and again, very little running room. The gain of 2. Bernard Jackson, John Henderson, Albert Hainsworth, and Will Overstreet comprise one of the best front 4s in all of college football. The linebackers are Eddie Moore, their leading tackler, with Dominique Stevenson and Keon Whiteside. And in the secondary, Teddy Gaines and Jabari Greer are the corners. Julian Battle, Rashad Baker are the safeties. 3rd and 8. Very conservative play calling to start the game for Michigan. And again, nothing doing on the run. 3 carries by Perry. Bernard Jackson stopped the 3rd down run. It will be 3 downs and out for Lloyd Carr's offense.
Michigan got caught and they ran on that 1st down and got no production. A little bit of a shuffle on the offensive line by Lloyd Carr. Joe Dene comes in and starts at right guard.
Dante Stallworth back for the punt from Hayden Epstein. Fielded on the bounce at the 27. Made the first man miss. And a nifty return out to the 44. Tackled by Carl Diggs. All Tennessee at the start of this new year at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl.
There are more than 500 studies, well over 100 just on vitamin C, that come to the same conclusion, that the vitamins and minerals found in orange juice and grapefruit juice are essential in maintaining good health.
Welcome to United Online. Joining together Net Zero, Juno, and millions of people who have stopped paying high internet bills. Now you can have great connections, fast page loads, instant message compatibility, and at only $9.95, it's less than half the price of AOL. There's never been a better time to switch. Call 877 only $9.95 or visit netzero.net or juno.com. Additional phone charges may apply.
Hermes, messenger of the gods, hearken unto Zeus!
What's up, dude?
You've stolen the drink of the gods. Now suffer my wrath. As punishment, you must hand over your winged sandals.
I don't need these ancient Greek sneakers anyway. I found something better.
Better than the divine ambrosia?
Yeah, it's Red Bull.
Red Bull, a new drink of the gods?
No, it's a new cold drink on Earth. It's more fun down there anyway.
And how do you plan to get back without your winged sandals?
With Red Bull. It gives you wings.
For Michigan, a return trip to the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. And they were victorious here over Auburn last year, 31-28. This is the 11th time the defending champion has returned to the Citrus Bowl the following year. In the previous 10, the defending champion has won every game. The defending champs down 3-0. 6 minutes into this one. Dante Stallworth, nice run after the catch of the Casey Clausen pass, and he's out of bounds at the 40-yard line of Michigan. A gain of 16 for the junior from Sacramento. Charles Drake bounced him out of bounds.
And Tony Brown, a little used freshman wide receiver, does a really nice job out there working one-on-one, picking up a block. And Stallworth, who's battled injuries his entire career with that broken wrist earlier in the season against Syracuse, so very dangerous in the open field. Although that Kelly Washington has better numbers, Stallworth is the guy who's really their big play receiver.
All the damage so far for Tennessee through the air. They passed for 86. They have -5 yards rushing as a result of the sack on the first drive. Eric Brackens made the tackle on Travis Stevens. The Volunteers trying to bounce back, and Stevens is individually as well. He rushed for only 37 yards in their loss to LSU in the SEC championship game. Carried the ball only 14 times. They got away from the run a little bit in the second half of that one.
And I think Stevens at 5'9", 190 pounds towards the end of the year with those 8 games at the end and then the extra game against the SEC. Maybe getting a little banged up. I think the time off may have really helped mend some of those dings.
4 receivers into the game. A quick pass on the flat and hit immediately by Marlon Jackson was Kelly Washington. Terrific play by the true freshman from Sharon, Pennsylvania. The same hometown as the Wolverines defensive backfield coach, Terrell Austin.
Marlon Jackson on the outside. Really fantastic job by a true freshman. Very lucky that time Kelly Washington didn't. His knee looked like it might have got hyperextended a little bit, but Marlon Jackson just a sensational job of seeing what was in front of him, able to peek inside because he knew he had deep help. Jim Herman giving some different looks right now, trying to get this Tennessee passing game out of rhythm.
3rd down and 12. Just a 4-man rush and a lot of time for Clausen as his receiver. And the ball's out, and it's ruled an incomplete pass. Dante Stallworth separated from the ball by Larry Foote. And it's ruled an incomplete pass. It's a Big East Conference officiating crew today.
What a great outing by the Michigan defense. Larry Foote, the linebacker, does a really nice job of dropping out. Looked like they were going to blitz. Michigan drops 7, and there comes Larry Foote. Boy, it looked like he might have had possession with that foot on the ground, Sean. Larry Foote did a nice job of getting his helmet right on the ball. Not so sure that that was not a fumble for the Michigan defense.
Dustin Colquitt, the punter for Tennessee. Wobbly boot from the left footer. Julius Curry brings it back to the 18-yard line. The snapper, Dan Stacy, downfield to make the tackle for the Volunteers.
Hold on. I lost my wallet. My credit card was in it.
You do have a Capital One no hassle card, don't you?
Well, don't worry. There's not another human for miles.
Worried about losing your credit card? With Capital One's No Hassle Card, you're not liable for a penny. Plus, get the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates and no telemarketing.
Don't think of your next job as your next job. Think of it as a long-term life enhancement upgrade. Make it great. Make it sing. Report to your future first thing Monday morning and bring your own coffee. The good kind. You know what? People do it every day. And you're a people, so you can do it too. See you Monday.
Post your resume today on Monster.com.
You the monster.
Bold, powerful, and a great way to get to work. Dodge.
This is the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl.
Midway through the first quarter, Tennessee has a 3-0 lead. And it appeared they caught a break on the third down pass to Stallworth. This looked like a catch and then a fumble.
And for Stallworth, this would have been his second fumble in 2 games. No question that Larry Foote knocked that ball out, and it really looked like Stallworth had established possession. Although it only would have been about a 12-yard swing in field position. Who knows how that would have helped out Michigan if they'd been starting at the 30 instead of inside of their own 20.
2 tight ends. The Wolverines keep it on the ground again to no avail. Chris Perry driven back by Keon Whiteside and Rashad Moore. Whiteside, a junior from Forest City, North Carolina, their 6th leading tackler. Today's First and 10 line is brought to you by Monster.com. Right across the 28-yard line, the yard to gain for a first down for Michigan. John Navarre looking to throw for the first time. In the flags, caught by the tight end, Joffre. But he's out near that first and 10 line. About a yard shy of it at the 27-yard line. Tackled by Teddy Gaines.
Michigan did a really nice job. The one, besides Marquise Walker with his 81 catches, the one position group that did very well for Michigan this year was they have 4 tight ends with Joffre, Bill Seymour, Sean Thompson, Dayton DeBook. They had 42 catches amongst them, and that time they could slip out a guy because in that kind of situation, second and long, you're expecting a longer route by your receivers. There's some underneath stuff for these tight ends.
3rd and short. 3rd and about a yard. Moving along the line, but the Volunteers got back. Perry, the ball carrier. And this will be close. Looks like well, they're moving the ball back now. Might require a measurement. Rashad Moore chopped him down.
And boy, you're really running into the teeth, the strength of that Tennessee defense. Of course, everybody knows about John Henderson, the 2000 Outland Trophy winner, but also Albert Hainsworth. Both those guys almost identical in size. Hainsworth a little bigger at 6'6", 310 pounds. Tough to get any movement, Sean. It's going to be very close on the measurement.
We mentioned they're one of the best defensive fronts in college football. And it is the first down of the day for Michigan. Lloyd Carr, when we chatted with him this week, said he thinks it's the best front that Michigan has played since the Rose Bowl in 1992 when they played a Washington team you were on. And that defensive front for Washington was led by Steve Empton.
And going against a guy like Steve Empton every day in practice, we used to look forward to the games. I'm sure the Tennessee offensive line feels the same way with Hainsworth and Henderson in the middle when they go ones against ones.
The eye, Navarre to throw. He's in trouble. He fumbles the football. Picked up by B.J. Askew, who got it back near the line of scrimmage. John Henderson made the hit. Now there's another battle for the football, and Tennessee has it. What a play that was. Navarre fumbled on the hit by Henderson. Askew picked it up, ran with it, then was separated from the ball, and Henderson got back in the play and recovered the fumble.
And John Henderson, who was struggling with a high ankle sprain, just absolutely ran right by the right guard, Jonathan Goodwin. And Askew lost control of the ball as he was trying to pick up extra yardage, but it all started with a great burst upfield by last year's Outland Trophy winner, Struggled with injuries this year. His numbers down a little bit, but you can see the explosive ability of John Henderson.
Well, that's an amazing play by Henderson. He caused one fumble and then recovered a different fumble on the same play. Eddie Moore involved in the hit that separated Askew from the ball. 22nd takeaway of the year for Tennessee. Lawson throws, caught at the 20-yard line, and there might be a late hit on the quarterback. Stallworth, the receiver, and it is a roughing the passer penalty against Norman Hoyer, I believe, of Michigan. So they'll add yardage on the end of the play. The gain went to the 20. Jeremy Lesueur had the coverage on Dante Stallworth.
Roughing the passer on the defense. Penalty is half the distance from the goal. First down.
Hoyer only a sophomore, but he needs to be much smarter than that. That ball clearly out of his hands. It's okay to bump him. I know Jim Herman wants his guys playing very aggressively, but you've got to be smart in that situation. Already a big play, and now Tennessee gets the ball at the 10-yard line.
It looks like they could pick up another first down, inches from the goal line. Travis Stevens, the long back. Two tight ends in the game. Toss to Stevens. And he slides down inside the 10 at the 9-yard line, tackled by Grant Bowman.
Start to see why Travis Stevens had such a sensational year for Tennessee. Michigan, right at the point of the attack, got great penetration. He ends up picking up nearly 2 yards when nothing was there. 5'9", 190 pounds, has such a low center of gravity. Very, very strong. The Michigan coaches say he is the toughest running back they faced all year. The only other guy they maybe compared him to was a 250-pound running back from Michigan State, T.J. Duck.
Second and 8. Stevens again. Inside the 5 and down at the 3-yard line. Julius Curry, who's missed the last 7 games after a shoulder injury, made the tackle with help from Eric Brackens, who's a native of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Travis Stevens is from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Such an amazing year for Travis Stevens. When you think about all of the running backs that have come through Tennessee, 3 guys in the same recruiting class, with Travis Henry and Jamal Lewis. Both guys left early, just stuck it out, very patient. Wasn't quite sure how much he was going to get the ball. Got it more than he thought he would this year.
Broke Jay Graham's single-season Tennessee rushing record. Timeout, Tennessee. Looking at 3rd down and short from the 3-yard line.
I just want to do it right today.
Just watch your corner. Get all your men back here alive.
Your men are going to look to you to make the right decisions. Their lives depend on it.
No fear! Oh, yeah, right! Space between the bullets and our fire. Okay? I can hear the bells ringing. Waiting for you. Like Durant, we won't leave you behind. Sadness down the window and so we're going home. Take my hand, 'cause we're walking. Gotta get you out of here, buddy.
Black Hawk Down, rated R. Now playing in New York and Los Angeles, everywhere January 18th.
Here's to you, Mom. The finder of lost socks. The princess of lunch packing. The person who knows whether or not fish can hear. You're my alarm clock. My back scrubber. My morning story. Here's to you, Mom, for getting us waked up, washed off, well-fed, and on our way. The best start under the sun. Florida orange juice.
New Orleans rocks on New Year's Day. Big Ten champ Illinois meets SEC champ LSU. The Nokia Sugar Bowl, tonight at 8:30, 5:30 Pacific on ABC.
Tennessee leads 3-0. The Volunteers looking for more. 3rd down. They could get a first down inches shy of the goal line. They're at the 3-yard line of Michigan.
back in the backfield, they can still run a draw, although Michigan now showing blitz. And Clausen very wisely comes up. Wouldn't be surprised if they had a draw play, now changing it to a pass.
Clausen throws, touchdown, Kelly Washington. Todd Howard had the coverage, but could not deny Clausen and Washington, who connect on a touchdown pass for the 6th time this year.
And what a great audible by Casey Clausen to get off of whatever they had called, probably a draw because of the pressure. He saw one-on-one with a 6'4", 225-pound Kelly Washington, called the quick slant. I don't care who's covering, that's tough duty.
Alex Walls, now a perfect 40 for 40 this year in extra points. Certainly no lingering after effects for Tennessee from the loss to LSU in the SEC championship game, as the Volunteers are off to an impressive 10-0 lead over Michigan here in the first quarter.
When we were talking to Randy Sanders yesterday about his quarterback, Casey Clausen, he talked about the up and down year that Casey had, and he said, really, you can go back to the injuries to the wide receivers. We talked about Eric Parker and Dante Stallworth, and you mentioned how Kelly Washington was really a quarterback at the start of the season and had to go in there. But Casey Clausen now having all of these wide receivers, you can see he has that arsenal. He's using every single one of them in different ways.
Coming up next, the 4th annual Bowl Championship Series kicks off right here on ABC. Big 12 champ Colorado taking on Joey Harrington and Oregon in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. And at 8:30 Eastern, Big 10 champion Illinois meets SEC champion LSU in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Prime time, ABC Sports, home of the Bowl Championship Series. And certainly those numbers on your screen are controversial.
Everybody's still talking about Colorado, 0.05 behind Nebraska. Colorado beats Oregon and Nebraska beats Miami. May have a split national champion with the AP voting in Colorado, or if Oregon wins and Nebraska beats Miami, maybe they could be co-national champions.
More likely if Oregon wins. Hard to imagine that a 2-loss team would be the national champion. Todd Howard finds a hole and runs it back to the 38-yard line. Buck Fitzgerald made the tackle, a nice 24-yard return. Here's Leslie Goodell.
Well, I'm with a very happy mother, Kathy Clausen. Casey just threw the first touchdown of the game. And, you know, when I came over to talk to Casey's parents, Jim ran, his father. He wanted no part of the interview. Is he always this intense?
Very intense. We usually don't sit together, so for you to catch us together was rare.
You have 3 sons who are quarterbacks, and one of them plays for LSU.
Right.
He's not here. What's the plan?
The plan is, as soon as we get done with this game, we're going to grab Casey and catch a flight to get to the Sugar Bowl.
A busy day for the Clausen family, Sean.
Indeed it is. Brother Rick, a quarterback at LSU prior to the SEC championship game. Rick Clausen worked with the scout team mimicking the Tennessee offense in practices preparing for the game. When they asked Rick about playing the role of his brother Casey, he said, I'm not very good at it because I can't run that slow and I can't throw that wobbly a pass.
Jimmy, their younger brother, showed up at the SEC championship game with a politically correct split jersey, Tennessee LSU.
Chris Perry with the catch on the throw from John Navarre. Back to the 40-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 8 for Michigan. Andre Lott made the tackle.
And this Michigan offense late in the season really started struggling. And the obvious reason, Stan Parrish says, although it seems very obvious you want to stay out of 3rd and long, they just could not do it. And right now, early in this game, conservative calls early by Stan Parrish and Lloyd Carr, and they're finding themselves in way too many 3rd and longs against a defense with this kind of front that can now pin its ears back and get after a very immobile John Navarre.
Navarre with a flag down on the play, much too high for Marquise Walker. Looked like Demetrius Solomon might have been guilty of a hold on Omari Hand. And it is a holding call against Michigan that'll be turned down by the Volunteers.
And that pressure by Tennessee, that front four, you don't always have to get.
The penalty is declined. 4th down.
You don't always have to get a sack. You could see John Navarre getting very uncomfortable in that pocket. I mean, who can blame him with guys like Overstreet and Amari Hand chasing him around in the pocket. He didn't get his feet set. Regardless, it would have been an incomplete pass.
Epstein to punt, heavy rush, and he gets it off. A tumbling boot, muffed by Stallworth. He bobbles it and then gathers it in and goes down to the 20-yard line. Tackled by Brandon Williams. Tomorrow, our Bowl Fest continues as All-American quarterback Rex Grossman leads Florida. At least we think. Some question about how much he'll play in the game against ACC Conference champion Maryland in the FedEx Orange Bowl. Our coverage begins live at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ABC. And the news is that Grossman will not start for a curfew violation. Brock Berlin, who's rumored to be transferring when the year's over for Florida, will make the start, and how much Grossman will play is unknown at this juncture.
Steve Spurrier was going to talk about it today in a press conference. I would imagine it'll probably be about the first quarter. I can't think that it would just be the first series, trying to send a message to the rest of his team.
Travis Stevens running left out across the 22-yard line where Sean Lazarus and Cato June took him down. Tennessee in its 42nd bowl game. Only Alabama has played in more. They're in a bowl game for the 13th straight year, the 19th time in the last 20 years, while Michigan has played in 27 straight bowl games with this appearance.
Amazing part for Tennessee. This is their 7th straight New Year's Day bowl. They have been going to big ones for the last 7 years. Even at the first time with their head coach.
Lawson throwing off target. Batted down by Larry Foote, the linebacker, running in coverage with Derek Tinsley, a running back, and there is a flag down near the line of scrimmage. Holding the call against Tennessee.
Penalty I would go ahead and accept. Back him up. 3rd and 8. I'd rather have them in 2nd and about 18.
Holding on the offense. The penalty line. 3rd down.
Well, with the way Casey Clausen has been throwing the ball and the receivers that he has at his disposal, 3rd and 8 is a very makeable 3rd down. A little surprised. I know some people think you shouldn't give them 2 shots, but I'd rather see 2nd 17 or 18 than 3rd and 8 with this offense, the way it's clicking right now early in the ball game.
3 wide receivers. Graham, Stallworth, and Washington. On 3rd and 8. In the flat, Stevens with some running room. First down. Travis Stevens at 5'9", 190 pounds, powering his way out to the 41-yard line. He ran over Charles Drake. Larry Stevens finally made the tackle.
This is what Jim Herman talked about with the toughness of Travis Stevens. Very shifty. Linebacker went out to try to cover him, shook him, got down the field, had already picked up the first down. But Herman said we need to gang tackle him, get guys around him. He tends to let the ball get a little loose sometimes, but that time Stevens showing that power at 190 pounds that sometimes you just don't think he'll have.
Roy Fleming now the running back as Stevens gets a breather. Travis has had the history of fumble problems, lost 5 this year. Lost his starting job earlier in his career due to fumbling. Fleming tackled by Victor Hobson and Larry Foote.
What a great story Larry Foote is. Came into his senior season. Him and Jim Herman, his linebacker coach and defensive coordinator, have such a close relationship. But Lloyd Carr talked about, Michigan sometimes gets some guys on All-American lists just because of where they play and where they line up. But he said that Larry Foote and Marquise Walker, 2 guys who did not have one bad game all year. Larry Foote is a downhill kind of linebacker. He's trying to make tackles at or behind the line of scrimmage.
That's the final play of the first quarter. Clausen, as he throws, it's caught by the tight end, Jason Witten. First down Tennessee after a gain of 26 to the Michigan 32-yard line. Cato June put a big pop on him and then got up prancing around a little bit, perhaps forgetting the fact that it was a gain of 26 for the offense. ABC Sports presentation of the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
My car's out front.
We'll get started right away.
Five Star, an easier way to sell and service cars and trucks.
You're all set.
Great job, guys. Let's run that drill again.
5 Star, certified training so rigorous, only the best make the cut. It's better. We'll prove it, only where you see these signs.
How many 4x4s can you really take off-road?
That was great. I suppose we better go give these guys a hand, huh?
With its patented four-wheel drive system, Jeep Liberty makes everyday Independence Day.
No laughing this time, guys.
Jeep Liberty. Incredibly capable, surprisingly affordable. Check one out at your Jeep dealer.
Wade here from Plank Road, where we're busy making the smooth, never watered down taste of Ice House, not ads. So here's today's Ice House commercial.
Ice House, 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 Ice House.
Okay. We'll make the Ice House, you make the ads.
What good is beauty if it's only skin deep? The new Camry, reinvented so it's sleeker, faster, roomier, better. You're gonna want one. See your local Toyota dealer.
Happy New Year from ABC 7. Proud to be on your side.
You're watching the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl on ABC Sports.
Tennessee up 10-0 and marching again. One of their big weapons is tight end Jason Witten, number 1. He was a defensive lineman last year. They had to switch him with some injuries. And Michigan trying to cover him one-on-one with a linebacker, Eric Brackens. That is a mismatch all the way. Witten will be able to get down to the middle of the field. I think Michigan's got to start thinking about bringing a strong safety. Witten at 265 pounds has really good speed down the middle of the field.
Strong start in the first quarter for Clausen, 9 of 13 passing, 124 yards and a touchdown. He's going deep again, has a man. It is caught! What a catch by Stallworth, and they mark him down inside the 1-yard line. Jeremy Lesore had the coverage, and he closed some ground while that ball was in the air, but Stallworth still managed to make the acrobatic catch.
Comes in, fakes a little bit of emotion. He runs a post corner, got over the top of Lesure, and Lesure is trailing. Almost got there to make that play. And what a nice job by Stallworth to get his elbow underneath the ball. And it looked like he might have got into the end zone before he touched the ground. Let's see where his knee hits. Good call by the official. Yep. Ball was down inside the 1. But wow, what great concentration by Stallworth.
Lawson keeps it. Touchdown.
Starting to see Tennessee with this many weapons and this many guys who can play. You've got to get very excited about next year. Bringing back a lot of these offensive linemen. Casey Clausen coming back. Kelly Washington, Dante Stallworth, who just made that great play. Jason Witten, who's a great weapon for Clausen at tight end. This is a very potent offense when they have all their pieces in place.
Alex Walls makes it 17-0. 32 seconds into the second quarter. Great start for Clausen. He's thrown for a touchdown, now run for a touchdown. He's passed for 156 yards.
Is that supposed to be fun?
Introducing a vehicle designed for your adventures in reality. The all-new, more powerful CR-V from Honda.
Americans are asking what is expected of us.
What is expected of us?
What is expected of us?
We ask you to live your lives.
Do your business.
Do your business around the country.
Fly and enjoy
America's great destination spots.
Take your family.
Enjoy life.
The way we want it to be enjoyed. Greatness is found.
Greatness is found
When American character
and American courage. American courage.
can overcome American challenges.
And we will.
And we will.
Day 15, just 900 feet from the summit.
Day 15.
Where's he going?
Oh, hey, guys. Just gonna mail my credit card payment.
You mean you don't have a Capital One no hassle card?
Want a choice of payment dates? Try Capital One's No Hassle Card. Plus, get the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates and no telemarketing.
What's in your wallet?
You can't control the weather, but for 50 grand, could you control your heartbeat? The Chair, a new game show coming to ABC.
The Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Capital One, who asks, what's in your wallet? Honda, a versatile family of cars, minivans, and SUVs. Aflac, ask about it at work. And Taco Bell, think outside the bun.
Back in Orlando, the Tennessee fans enjoying the start to this Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. Lloyd Carr and the Wolverines down 17-0, and it's a team that clearly is struggling with its confidence on offense as well. They're going to have to get it going in a hurry.
They've got to get something going. Marquise Walker, Tennessee, doing everything they can to confuse John Navarre a little bit. They have to do something down the field, though, Sean, to try to loosen up that coverage.
Another high kickoff by Alex Walls. Down to Tom Howard near the 5. Another good return by Howard. Out to the 29-yard line. Rashad Baker made the tackle. A 23-yard return. It's not been a great recent bowl history for Tennessee. They've lost 3 of their last 4 bowl games. Last year embarrassed in the Cotton Bowl by Kansas State 35-21. Some bickering among the players during that game. Then the questions this year about if they'd be up for this game. Casey Clausen at a players meeting before they left Knoxville said, if you're not up for the game, you don't want to make the trip, don't even pack your stuff and go.
It's really what you need out of your starting quarterback, even though he's just a sophomore. Needs to take a leadership role on for Philip Fulmer's Volunteers, and the way he's playing, his actions are speaking even louder than those words.
Going deep, John Navarre looking for Marquise Walker. Tight coverage from Andre Lott. Well, they do try to stretch the field, but Lott, who was first-team All-SEC as a cornerback, selected by the coaches to that honor, had very good coverage.
This was something that John Chavis, the defensive coordinator of Tennessee, said that they were going to try. They're going to try some nice, tight press coverage. That's what they like to run at Tennessee, even though Marquise Walker, with double coverage most of the season, had 81 receptions. Tennessee figured that if improving secondary, this secondary of Tennessee was picked on early in the year, and they improved and had a really, really good, solid game in the SEC championship.
And 10. One first down so far for Michigan. Tennessee's had 10. Perry worked hard for a short gain out near the 34-yard line. Chopped down by Teddy Gaines. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator, trying to stay in some kind of game plan, stick true to the game plan. I understand you want to work that run in, but on 2nd and long, I know we're early into the 2nd quarter, but the way Tennessee has been playing on offense, maybe get John Navarre into a shotgun formation, let him start seeing the whole field, spread it out so he can at least see where the help's going to be coming on Marquise Walker and look at other things on the other side away from him.
Evan Dudley, a freshman, has played very little, is in at fullback. Navarre on target for a first down for the tight end Bill Seymour, the senior from Granger, Indiana.
And as John Navarre as a quarterback starts to mature, Stan Parrish has been the quarterback coach since '96. The last part of this season is something that he's going to have to overcome. 10 interceptions, as I mentioned, 4 against Ohio State. His completion percentage came way down. Wasn't quite sure what it was, just said it continued to snowball at the end of the season for him.
They were 5-1 over those first 6 games. The only loss at Washington, and that really wasn't Navarre's fault. They had a couple of bad breaks go against them. He threw an interception right off the hands of one of his running backs that was run in for a touchdown by the Huskies. But since he started to struggle, they've struggled as a team. And in fairness to Michigan, they did play a tougher schedule over the last 5 games of the year. But surprising that it would go the way it did, because you'd think with all of the people they had to replace at the start of the year, Ed, they might struggle early and get better as the season went along. With an inexperienced group, they played well early and got worse as the season went along, and very nearly an interception on that play. Rashad Baker, the safety, had his hands on the pass intended for Bill Seymour.
I think it was really a function, Sean, of what you just mentioned, that the defenses got better, that they played later in the season. This ball tried to get forced in a little bit by Navarre. Not a bad throw. Seymour, I think, got his head around late, didn't get that. But not only a function of playing better defenses, but I think the defenses that Michigan played started figuring out that Marquise Walker was really the only guy that could make a big play down the field, and they figured if we can do anything to take him out of the equation, they're going to struggle, and they did.
On 3rd down, Navarre sacked. Will Overstreet tripped him up. The senior from Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson Prep, team-high 5 sacks during the regular season. First team all-conference selection of the SEC this year. And is the career record holder at Tennessee with 49 quarterback hurries. Epstein punts for Michigan. Stallworth on the 25. Runs it back to the 34-yard line, a 9-yard return. Zach Kaufman made the tackle for Michigan, a 36-yard punt by Epstein. Tennessee with the ball in a 17-0 lead when we return to the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl.
To make sure that your orange and grapefruit juice is the product of Florida growers, all you have to do is look for the Sunshine Tree. It's your guarantee of the highest quality juice, as well as great taste and good health.
Hey, if we get hurt. Whoa, good thing we got that insurance.
What's that?
What?
What'd you say?
Pays you cash if you can't work.
Before that.
I said I'm glad we got that insurance.
Not that. That.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Whoa. What was he thinking?
Introducing a vehicle designed for your adventures in reality. The all-new, more powerful CR-V from Honda.
Heartburn? Give me a cold one.
Introducing Tums Cool Relief with unique Friva crystals. It gives you an immediate cooling, soothing sensation in your mouth and throat. You can feel the chill while it knocks out heartburn fast.
I could really use a cold one.
New Tums Cool Relief with calcium. Feel the difference.
We're back in Orlando at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. Sean McDonough, Ed Cunningham, and Leslie Goodell. Delighted to have you with us as we ring in the new year with the first ever meeting between these two college football powers, and it's all Tennessee so far, leading 17-0 and doing it almost entirely through the air with help from receiver Kelly Washington and the accurate passing of Casey Clausen, who's 10 out of 14 in the game. 169 passing yards for Tennessee. They rushed for only 8 yards, but they haven't needed the running game.
And you see that ball, you mentioned earlier that his younger brother at LSU made kind of fun of how Casey throws it. He doesn't throw the tightest spiral, but he throws it on time and very accurate when he's able to set his feet.
Travis Stevens. Back up for no gain. Victor Hobson, the linebacker, junior from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, out of St. Joseph's Prep in Pennsylvania, the same high school that produced Oakland Raiders quarterback Rich Gannon. Victor made the tackle.
And Michigan's defense has been out there quite a bit so far in the first half. They need something. Jim Herman fighting as much as he can to try to get some kind of stop, maybe a turnover. Second and long, thinking about maybe bringing some pressure, try to make something happen.
Not a surprise the Michigan offense has struggled, but perhaps a surprise to many that Tennessee has moved the ball this crisply against one of the best defenses in the nation. Short completion, Clausen to Bobby Graham. Roy Manning, a backup linebacker, redshirt freshman from Saginaw, made the tackle. That'll bring up third down.
And that time, Michigan's front used a stunt in the middle. Number 90, Norman Hoyer, came from the nose guard spot all the way around, and that pressure, because Michigan dropped 8, Casey Clausen, reading what coverage he had to dump that ball off, or else he would have taken a sack. A nice decision by the sophomore.
Tennessee 3 for 5 on third down today. Clausen zings one incomplete. A little bit out in front of Jason Witten. Larry Foote, the linebacker, in coverage. 3 downs and out for the Tennessee offense.
Michigan very good at blocking punch, Sean. They had 7 this year, which tied the 1950 Wolverines for the school record. It looks like they're going to come after it. They have 10 men up. Marquise Walker is one of them. He already has 2 this season.
Dustin Colquitt drops the snap. He has not had one blocked this year. He nearly ended that streak. There was a shank after the mishandled snap. Colquitt, redshirt freshman from Knoxville, the son of former Vol punter Craig Colquitt, who went on to kick in the NFL for the Steelers. Philip Fulmer said Dustin has as good a leg as any punter they've ever had, and they've had some good ones. Maybe better than any kicker they've ever had, but he's a little inconsistent. And Coach Fulmer didn't like Dustin dropping that snap. Time now for our Aflac trivia question. Charles Woodson of Michigan won the Heisman Trophy in '97. Peyton Manning was runner-up. We want to know who finished third that year in the Heisman Trophy balloting. A 6-yard punt has Michigan in excellent field position, and the pass is almost intercepted. Looking for Ronald Bellamy. Rashad Baker came flying across and almost picked it off.
Baker did a really nice job of reading Navarre. They had layered routes too deep so that he could read one part of the field, and Baker came off of Marquise Walker when he saw the eyes, just back there, able to see everything that's going on. A really nice job by Baker.
Talking about that Aflac trivia question, we talked with Lloyd Carr yesterday. He said even though these teams have never played, there is a rivalry. On 2nd and 10, the carry by Chris Perry. Dominique Stevenson made the tackle, and he said a lot of that dates back to 1997. Not only the controversy, the Tennessee people very upset that Charles Woodson, with plays like that, won the Heisman, and not Peyton Manning. Of course, back at that time, these two schools were taking turns adding on to their stadiums, each trying to lead the nation in attendance. And in 1997, Tennessee actually did move ahead in attendance of Michigan. Michigan has since leapt back and led the nation in attendance every year since '98. On third down, Seymour, the tight end, upended, and apparently just short of the first down. And you'd think they'd go for it down 17-0 on 4th down and less than a yard. Jabari Greer made the tackle.
And there's one of them 4 tight ends getting involved. Bill Seymour, the leader of the group, the third leading receiver for Michigan, although the number is much lower. After Marquise Walker with 81 receptions, it's amazing. B.J. Askew was second with 24, and Bill Seymour with 23. Sean, there's just no question. I don't think he made it, but they're going to have to go for it on 4th and short on the 35-yard line.
4th and about a foot. Interesting what Lloyd Carr said. You can have a rivalry even when you haven't played each other. They've been talking about scheduling each other for years, but Philip Fulmer says, hey, our non-conference schedule is already tough enough. We've played UCLA and Notre Dame and Syracuse. He said, if anything, we need to start doing what our friends to the south do. And that was a little swipe at Florida and their non-conference schedule. He said, in this era of the BCS, you need to play a strength of schedule, but you don't need to play the iron every week.
Well, and Tennessee picks up a home and home with Miami starting next year. I don't know that you're going to be able to talk Philip Fulmer into playing the boys from Ann Arbor too soon.
4th and 1 from the 35. Two tight ends on the eye. It's the tailback running for the first down. Chris Perry, the sophomore from Advanced North Carolina. He's done the bulk of the ball carrying today. Was their second leading rusher for the regular season behind B.J. Askew. And their top returning rusher from last year as he ran for 417 yards as a true freshman behind Anthony Thomas, now in the NFL with the Bears.
Right now, Tennessee doing a very nice job confusing Michigan on what kind of coverage they're going to use on Marquise Walker, not able to get him ball. And right now they changed again and backed off of Walker.
Here's Perry with a nice gain. Close to another first down. Eddie Moore made the tackle. Perry played in prep school at Fort Union Military Academy, the same school that's produced Eddie George among many other talented players.
Looks like that Tennessee's going to be in press man, but watch as they start to back out. That's Marquise Walker on the right there. And the safety over on that side, Rashad Baker, started backing out to give deep help, so that the early read by John Navarro was press man coverage, and right before the snap, they bail out and they go bracket cover one.
About a foot short again. You mentioned Lloyd Carr's Tennessee roots. Lived in Tennessee the first 10 years of his life. Still has relatives in Tennessee. Said he had a call from his cousin just before they were leaving Ann Arbor, Dr. Carla Kite, who left a message. Lloyd, we're so proud of you. We're so excited you're going to play the Vols. Everybody's looking forward to the game. Go Vols. She hung up. Even bloodlines don't help you in this new rivalry. Benny Joppru, the reception on second and a foot. And a gain down to the 17-yard line and a first down for Michigan.
And I think that Stan Parrish doing a nice job now that he's seen what Tennessee is trying to do against their superstar Marquise Walker, of getting those tight ends involved, really productive from that tight end position. Joppru and Seymour now getting into the mix, because Tennessee has taken away anything Michigan has tried to do with their all-star receiver, but Stan Parrish now starting to make the adjustments.
Deep handoff, and Perry steps across the 15 to the 14 for a gain of 2. We're under 8 minutes left in the first half. 17-0. Tennessee leads Michigan. Eddie Moore made the tackle on Perry.
And Perry was a guy that really, at the end of spring ball, they expected to be their #1 running back. 6'1", 235-pound sophomore. You mentioned that he was the leading returning rusher. He had 417 yards, backing up Anthony Thomas last year, so they expected big things. Had a couple of nagging injuries early, and B.J. Askew, who had been a fullback, really took advantage of that and played well early.
Lazar throws too high for Ronald Bellamy. And it'll be third down and 8. Of course, John Navarre's status was uncertain back in the spring. He figured to be the backup quarterback to Drew Henson. But Henson signed a professional baseball contract with the New York Yankees. So you could add the loss of Henson to the departure of 5 players from the Michigan offense of a year ago in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. Anthony Thomas and David Terrell, standouts now with the Bears. The 4 offensive linemen, all of whom have started as rookies in the NFL this year. Major losses. And all in all, an 8-3 season, and second in the Big Ten isn't bad for a group this inexperienced. And Ryan River, B.J. Askew, touchdown Michigan.
Little play fake to B.J. Askew, and then it looked like he was going to go block. The outside linebacker slipped underneath of him. They had a tight end out there that blocked for him. Really nice call by Stan Parrish. He's changed up, I think, a little bit in his game plan coming in, wanted to get Marquise Walker involved, have had to start to use different weapons in this Michigan offense.
Certainly needed that score, and Epstein adds the extra point. So the Wolverines capitalize on the 6-yard punt and march down the field with their most impressive drive of the day by far. 9 plays on the drive for Michigan, culminating in the touchdown pass. Navarre to Askew at 17-7 Volunteers.
Ho, ho, ho!
Oh, I hope you didn't put all those on the credit card.
Yeah, why?
Do you know what those interest charges are going to do to us?
Don't worry. I used our new Capital One No Hassle card.
Fed up with exploding credit card rates? To the neighbors! With Capital One's new No Hassle Platinum card, you get one low fixed rate and none of the hassle.
Gotta tell Steve and Laura about Capital One.
What's in your wallet?
Sean Bryan. That's that sexy man I met the other night. You want me to get it? No, let the machine pick it up. I don't want him to know I'm home on a Friday night.
Hey, yo, Donna, it's Sean. Remember me? I'm at this crazy club right now. There's a lot of cute hotties, but I'm just thinking of you, girl.
Uh-huh. I know.
I'll call you tomorrow.
When did you get this? There's the,
Yep.
Look at the,
There's nothing like a little variable valve timing to get people talking.
What's that, Yeah, dipstick.
The Accord V6 from Honda.
This is the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl.
First ever meeting between Tennessee and Michigan, and perhaps the first football game for that young fan at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. Michigan on the board after a 44-yard drive set up by a very short punt by Dustin Colquitt. And now Hayden Epstein will kick off.
Michigan desperately needed that kind of drive, mix and matching with their tight ends and running backs to get something going against Tennessee's defense.
Leonard Scott from the 8. And he goes down. They'll mark him down to the 24-yard line. Let's check in now with John Saunders.
All right, Sean, thanks a lot. South Carolina had grabbed a 28-0 lead over Ohio State, but Steve Balisari rolls to his left, goes 9 yards to Darnell Sanders. That ties the game at 28 apiece. And then, after the kickoff, an Ohio State kickoff, we'll keep you up to date.
So a terrific comeback by one Big Ten team, and now another Big Ten team on the comeback trail. Michigan, its cause helped by the sack by Grant Bowman. He took down Casey Clausen back at the 16-yard line. A loss of 8 on the play, the 4th sack of the year by Bowman, a sophomore from Blacklick, Ohio.
Bowman finally 100% healthy, had some leg problems. Once again, it's a 3-man stunt. The right defensive end, right defensive tackle came down inside, and Bowman, who was lined up all the way over on the right guard, came around. And because of the coverage, when you can get pressure with your front 4 and drop into coverage, Clausen had nowhere to go with the ball.
Troy Fleming takes the inside handoff and was tackled by Dan Rumashek after he gained back to the 20-yard line. A gain of 4. That'll be 3rd down and long, 3rd and 14 for the Volunteers. From high above, our aerial coverage is courtesy of Goodyear, who would like to remind you to take all of life's journeys on the wings of Goodyear. Bob Rosedale, our cameraman, aboard the Goodyear blimp today. A beautiful day to be up there. We're calling for mostly cloudy skies and a chance of rain today. They missed on that one. Here's Stallworth on the fly. Pushed down. Out to midfield and out of bounds near the 40-yard line of Michigan. Chased out by safeties Charles Drake and Cato June. A 42-yard gain on 3rd down and 14. A momentum killer for Michigan.
Randy Sanders, the offensive coordinator, obviously has been very busy during his time off. A little bit of a reverse to Dante Stallworth. And the way this guy runs in the open field, you have to find ways to get him the ball. The only reason that Cato June is able to knock him out of bounds is because he had an angle from his free safety position. If June would have been out of position, Stallworth would have run by the entire Michigan defense.
First down on a rushing play for Tennessee today. And now outgained Michigan 219-64. First and 10 for the Michigan 38. 17-7 ball. Clausen in traffic, dumped it off short to Tony Brown, the redshirt freshman, who did not have the reception the entire season. That's his first career catch for the redshirt freshman from Lauderdale Lakes, Florida, out of St. Thomas Aquinas High School, where he broke Michael Irvin's single-season school reception record with 55 catches.
What a nice job by Casey Clausen. They had a weak side blitz, one more than they could block. The little jump throw over the top to complete it to Tony Brown.
2nd and 4. Lawson gesturing to the wide receivers and zipping one for Washington. Did he catch it? Yes, he did. Marlon Jackson, the freshman, had coverage on fellow freshman Washington. That's a bit deceptive because Kelly Washington, 22 years old. He played 4 years of minor league baseball in the Florida Marlins organization before walking on at Tennessee. Pretty good walk on.
Yeah, and he did definitely get his arm underneath there. Pretty good coverage by Marlon Jackson, but you can see the build. Wow, what a nice grab by Kelly Washington. Real thick through his forearm, such strong hands after 4 years in minor league baseball.
It was a 10th round draft choice, the Marlins back in '97, but hit .213 combined in 4 years the minors. Then they sent it back to the gridiron. Travis Stevens knocked down by Larry Foote. Randy Sanders told us when we chatted with him yesterday about Kelly Washington, first day of spring practice, they had already seen Washington in the weight room and in that sort of environment. And when they saw him on the football field, everybody was smiling, Randy said, because they knew right away watching Washington they had a special player.
Sometimes that weight room strength and all that agility test does not convert onto the football field. It's like a sigh of relief for the Tennessee coaches that maybe even better than they thought he would be.
Another good throw by Clausen. Down to the goal line. Dante Stallworth just short again. He was inches from a touchdown on an acrobatic catch earlier. And he can't believe he didn't get the call on that one either.
I don't either, Sean. It looked from up here that he stretched out right at the very end. Nice throw and catch in traffic. No, another good call by the officials right there at the very end. Carl Diggs came in and hit the ball as Stallworth tried to stretch out.
First and goal, 5 catches for Stallworth for 79 yards. Of course, the big run a moment ago. Movement before the snap. This situation earlier, Clausen took it in on the keeper for a touchdown.
Looked like Michigan got into the neutral zone and then made contact with the center, Scott Wells. And how do you go half the distance to the goal when it's probably about 7 inches from the goal line?
Prior to the snap, offsides, defense, penalty is half the distance to the goal, remains first down.
You have to bring out a ruler to figure out what 3.5 inches is to move that ball forward.
First and goal. Tennessee trying to answer after Michigan scored. Lawson keeps again. No signal yet. Touchdown. Dante Stallworth, the combined 10 inches or so from 2 touchdowns. Instead, they both belong to Casey Clausen on keepers. And 23-7.
but it was that momentum-breaking reverse run by Dante Stallworth. It looked like Michigan's defense was going to come up with another stop after Michigan had cut it to 17-7, but that was the play that really got them started on this drive.
Alex Walls adds the extra point. Tennessee is ranked 8th in the nation at the moment. Philip Fulmer says with a good performance here, we could move into the top 5, and they're looking like a top 5 team today.
With a smooth car-like ride, dual-side airbags, and a 240 horsepower engine.
Go ahead, I'll bring her in.
Hannah. It's one of the joys of parenthood. The Odyssey from Honda.
Hold on. I lost my wallet and my credit card was in it.
You do have a Capital One no hassle card, don't you?
Well, don't worry. There's not another human for miles.
Worried about losing your credit card? With Capital One's no hassle card, you're not liable for a penny. Plus, get the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates and no telemarketing.
Hey, Edge Gel is gonna clean up your act with Edge Clean Shave Gel.
Edge Clean.
Edge Clean's got a built-in facial cleanser that helps lift dirt and oil every time you lather. To help lift dirt and oil every time you shave.
Edge Clean Complete.
So clean up your act with Edge Clean Shave Gel.
Took the Lord's name in vain.
How many times?
Quite a few.
Ballpark.
500.
In a day? Who is this?
Do you want to be forgiven or not? The Job is back Wednesday, January 16th on ABC. Viewer discretion is advised.
2:50 remaining until halftime here at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. Tennessee leads Michigan 24-7. The big cheer just went up from the Tennessee fans again during the TV timeout. They announced the final score of the Outback Bowl. South Carolina beat Ohio State 31-28. And of course the SEC fans here from Tennessee cheering that victory over the Big Ten squad. And Tennessee's trying to make it 2 for 2 for the SEC against the Big Ten today.
We were talking about at the beginning of the show, Sean, who was going to get over that loss at the end of the season faster. It looks like Tennessee is more physical today. They're holding their blocks longer. Not that Michigan is not giving the effort, but it looks like a little bit of a mismatch early physically for the Volunteers.
Alex Walls with another kickoff down to the 5 to Todd Howard. The senior from Bolingbrook, Illinois, knocked down at the 16-yard line by Mark Jones. 2:41 remaining until halftime. Casey Clausen and the Vols lead by 17.
Some see an 8-foot wall as a not-so-subtle message to keep out. 4. Others see it as a minor obstacle to an invigorating day at the course. There you go. Oh! It's good. The perfect accompaniment to such an outing, Taco Bell. For a little green, you can indulge in great tasting, high-quality fare no matter who you are.
Excuse me, young man.
Think I'll play through.
Hey! Score a crunchy taco and bean burrito together, just 98 cents. Now with better beef, beans, and tortillas. For a tasty deal, think outside the bun.
Okay, good news. That broadband thing we all want? Got it figured out. Honey, you call the phone company. Tracy, you're digging the trench, shovels in the garage. I'm going up on the roof to assess satellite possibilities. Timmy, check out these schematics. Appreciate it. Let's go! Broadband!
We know how you feel, and that's why Circuit City offers one-stop high-speed internet access. You can find what's available where, compare options, and arrange installation. Circuit City, we're with you.
Yeah, we can get broadband at Circuit City.
You like simple better than complicated. You like quick better than slow. You like easy better than hard. So now pay with SpeedPass at both Mobile and Exxon. It's fast, it's free, and it links to a check card or major credit card you already have. Call toll-free or visit speedpass.com. We're drivers, too.
Every Saturday night, James Bond's gonna push your buttons. Eject to see. The Bond Picture Show premieres Saturday, January 26th on ABC.
2:41 remaining till halftime. 3 timeouts left for Michigan. This possession begins for the Wolverines at their own 17-yard line. John Navarre throws, and it is caught. Marquise Walker breaks a tackle and goes out to the 50-yard line. A gain of 33. Rashad Baker made the tackle. First catch of the day for Marquise Walker with the single-season Michigan record of 81 during the regular season.
And this time they saw exactly what they wanted. One-on-one coverage outside to Marquise Walker. Such a great season. He jumps ahead of Anthony Carter in career receptions. But that is exactly what Navarre wanted to see, is Tennessee taking a chance.
Straight ahead, Chris Perry. More a gain of 2. Marquise Walker is a senior from Syracuse, New York. First team All Big Ten, first team All American by the American Football Coaches Association this year. And an art major. Had a lot of pressure to go to Syracuse. Grew up not far from the Syracuse campus. But he wanted to go away, experience something different, and Michigan's been the perfect spot for him. No gain on the pass play to Chris Perry. Thursday night, the granddaddy of them all. The Rose Bowl presented by AT&T. Undefeated Miami facing off against Heisman Trophy winner Eric Crouch and number 2 Nebraska for the national championship. That's Thursday live at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. The Canes 3rd in the nation in scoring offense. Walker another catch and a first down. A good throw from Navarre to the 32-yard line. Pickup of 16 yards. Julian Battle made the tackle. And finally, they're managing to find ways to get the ball now to Walker.
Michigan doing everything they can to get back to the line of scrimmage with 1:16 left and the clock stopped because of the first down. Get the play in. Try not to use too much of this clock. Finding a little rhythm offensively like they had last series.
Navarre over the head of Bellamy. I don't think we've given the folks enough time now to answer the Aflac trivia question. 97, Charles Woodson won the Heisman Trophy. Peyton Manning was second. We want to know who finished third. Do you have any guess?
Ryan Leaf.
Is that a guess?
I pulled that out right at the last second with the help of Bruce Clark, our producer, who whispered it in my ear.
Yes. And who knows the answer?
Cheating.
I thought maybe your New Year's resolution would be to stop cheating on the Aflac.
No, it was to admit when I cheated.
B.J. Askew. Inside the 10 and down to the 7-yard line. 25 yards on the run by Askew. His first carry. He had a touchdown reception earlier.
Timeout. That is for the half.
Michigan with a timeout. 58 seconds left in the half.
Michigan just trying offensively. They've really found a nice rhythm, and B.J. Askew, the Tennessee coaches say that he starts to wear you down because Tennessee's defense, they're really starting to rotate the front in there because of the long drive last time, and now a passing drive where all of these guys have to chase the football. A nice crease by that offensive line.
Be surprised they called a timeout. You mentioned they had nice rhythm going here. They had plenty of time. The clock was going to stop to move the chains anyway.
You could have saved that timeout when you're inside the 10-yard line. But you wonder if the coaches wanted to get settled down and make sure they take full advantage of this drive. But yeah, Sean, a little surprising that they would use it right there.
Coming up next, the GM Overdrive halftime report with John Saunders and Terry Bowden. One of the great days of the year for college football fans. New Year's Day. Plenty of bowl action throughout the day here on ABC Sports. Starting with this one, the first ever meeting between Tennessee and Michigan. As a matter of fact, Tennessee has never played against any team from the state of Michigan.
Michigan is now in kind of a strange spot at 1st and goal from the 7. They have 2 timeouts, so they can try to run the ball, but when you're at 1st and goal from the 7, this is typically a throwing situation against the especially strong Tennessee front.
Navarre throws, might have been deflected, incomplete. 2nd and goal, and now some tempers flaring back behind the line of scrimmage. Chris Perry and Dominique Stevenson had to be separated.
John Navarre looked like he just hung on to that for, wanted to pull it back and not able to do it. Has very big hands.
Ooh,
yeah,
wild pitch.
It looked like he was just a bit outside. Looked like he was going to try to pull it back, maybe a pump fake, and it slipped out of his hand, a wasted down for Michigan. Now even tougher at 2nd and goal from 7.
In the last moment, he saw Rashad Baker, the safety, heading in the direction that he was intending to throw it, and realized he should not throw it. Out of the shotgun. DJ Askew in trouble and dropped for a loss. And now Michigan calls a timeout. And again, you go back to the other timeout, Ed. You talked about it. They had rhythm. They had a nice drive going. Little momentum on their side, and they used that timeout, and they've had 2 ugly plays since then.
And the other thing you do is you allow Tennessee to gain their breath on defense, maybe get some fresh personnel to rush the passer. That time, Tennessee was ready for the handoff. As Keon Whiteside got up from the outside, they were allowed to get some different personnel in there, try to match the personnel that Michigan had on the field, and I'm not so sure that that timeout did not benefit Tennessee more than it did Michigan.
Talk about the similarities between these programs, so many, including national championships won by each in back-to-back years. Lloyd Carr in Michigan in '97, Philip Fulmer and the Tennessee Volunteers in '98. With that record, 94-20, he is the winningest active coach by percentage, and Lloyd Carr is 3rd with the record you just saw for Lloyd, 66-19.
Michigan now try to make lemonade out of lemons because they got backed up on that lost yardage play. They now have a little more room to work. Some double moves with their wide receivers. Need protection first. Wouldn't be surprised if John Chavis decides to blitz him this down.
For those wondering, Bobby Bowden, the 2nd winningest active coach by percentage. In between Fulmer and Carr. Navarre hit as he throws, incomplete in the end zone. Looking for Calvin Bell. So the drive stalls as Navarre was hit by Will Overstreet, and Michigan will attempt a field goal to try to get back within 2 touchdowns.
Anytime you talk to coaches who have played against Tennessee, the first name out of their mouth on defense is not John Henderson. It is Will Overstreet. Such great burst up the field, little bit of a rip move. He is so relentless, a guy that Philip Fulmer is going to miss. This senior Overstreet is going to make a fine professional football player.
You saw there in the replay concern from Coach Fulmer at the end of the play because Overstreet collided with Bernard Jackson, and Jackson was slow to get up and a little wobbly as he goes off now. So a field goal try for Hayden Epstein of 28 yards. 4 of 5 this year from inside 20 to 29 yards. Just inside the left hash mark. It is good. Hayden Epstein. A terrific career at Michigan coming to an end for the senior from Cardiff, California, who doubles as the punter. Coming up next, the 4th annual Bowl Championship Series gets underway. Joey Harrington in Oregon doing battle with the Colorado Buffaloes in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Then at 8:30, Illinois, the champions of the Big Ten at 10-1. The only loss to Michigan. They'll meet LSU in the Nokia Sugar Bowl in prime time here on ABC Sports, exclusive home of the Bowl Championship Series.
The Colorado-Oregon game, the one that a lot of people want to see because of the chance of the split national championship. But Sean, we saw Colorado middle of the year. They got so much better at the end of the year. I think their power running game, I just don't see Oregon being able to slow it down. I think it'll be a high shootout game, but that running game that they displayed at the end of the year, especially against Texas and Nebraska in that blowout, was just astounding.
Aiden Epstein to kick off to Leonard Scott. Scott from the three. And picked his way out to the 20-yard line. Blake Nassif made the tackle. An up and down day, but mostly up for this Tennessee offense.
They've really showed a varying offense that really they didn't show a lot during the season, Sean. We were talking about yesterday. They've really been just kind of a drop back and a power run team, but they've employed reverses. They've had a quarterback, a wide receiver, Kelly Washington, a former quarterback, throw a pass. Done a bunch of different things, and Casey Clausen has just been sensational. .31 seconds left in the half. They built this big lead without much from Travis Stevens, the leading rusher in the SEC. 7 games of 100 yards plus this season. Very quiet, a late flag thrown.
Out of the half.
Michigan calls a timeout. I don't understand this either, unless they're anticipating a turnover, because they don't have enough timeouts left to get the ball back in this half.
Well,
now they sort out the penalty flag.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. The penalties will offset.
Well, they have sorted it out already, and we check in with John Saunders.
Sean, we told you Ohio State came back from down 28-0. Then Steve Balisari threw an interception, sets up Daniel Weaver, 42-yard field goal to win the game as time expires. So South Carolina blows a 28-0 lead, but still hangs on to get the victory for Lou Holtz. Sean, back to you.
Thank you, John. Some question as to how much Steve Balisari would play in that game. And involved in the key turnover late. That set up the winning field goal for the Gamecocks. Leading Ohio State the Outback Bowl for the 2nd straight year. Inside handoff to Travis Stevens. Of course, there are a lot of South Carolina fans here in Orlando, Ed, because they thought the Gamecocks be playing here in the Florida Citrus Bowl. But when Tennessee lost to LSU, that knocked all the SEC teams down 1 game, and it knocked South Carolina out of this game, brought Tennessee here, moved South Carolina over to Tampa. So a lot of fans for the Gamecocks still came to Orlando, kept their hotel rooms, and just drove over to Tampa to see the game.
And they were standing on street corners trying to get rid of those tickets and putting them up on eBay, doing anything they can to get rid of them.
Halftime, here's Leslie with Lloyd Carr.
Well, a bit of a surprise that Tennessee was able to put up 24 points against your defense. What were the problems in the first half?
Well, the first problem was that we turned the football over to give them the first touchdown, but we've given up a couple of big plays. I think our drive there at the end of the second quarter got us back into this game. We just got to play a great half of football.
What do you have to do in the second half? Is it a matter of getting that rhythm and keeping it?
Well, our defense has to get us off the field, and then we've got to make some plays offensively.
Thanks, Coach. John?
Leslie, thank you. Halftime at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. Tennessee leads Michigan 24-10. Time now for the GM Overdrive halftime report. John Saunders and Terry Bowden. Happy New Year, gentlemen.
And a very happy New Year right back at you, Sean, here at the Disneyland Resort in California. Again, Michigan, if they had some offense against Ohio State, would be playing in a BCS game right now. And again, their offense doesn't match up with Tennessee.
No, and Tennessee has too many offensive weapons. Casey Clausen, their quarterback, having an excellent game. He's got 2 wide receivers, Dante Stallworth and Kelly Washington. Michigan cannot double cover either receiver.
All right, 24-10 is the lead. The second half still to come. But up next, the GM Overdrive halftime report from here in California.
Every week I give tours around campus, and people ask me, why did you come to the University of Tennessee? I tell them it's because I wanted lots of choices. I wanted a place where I could do real work. My scholarship at UT allowed me to go to England, and I interned with a member of parliament. Why did I choose Tennessee? Because it's all here. My dad's thinking, oh no, now she wants to get into politics. Why not?
Through its youth education through sports clinics, the NCAA fosters the dreams of children in sport and in life. Focusing on the discipline, confidence, and dedication involved in sports, student athletes can apply fundamentals both on and off the field. When it comes to playing with a purpose, just say yes.
Hi, I'm Michael Peck of the New York Islanders, and this holiday season, I'll be wishing for peace on earth and goodwill towards men. Will everyone accept the Rangers, and the Flyers, and I guess the Devils too?
Welcome to the GM Overdrive Halftime Report. Here now, John Saunders and Terry Bowden.
As you welcome in the new year, we say Happy New Year to everyone. You want to get your blood rushing? My partner, Terry Bowden, not afraid to go down a huge roller coaster, although screaming quite heartily.
John, scared to death. I wouldn't let my players do it. I thought they'd have a heart attack, but you can't do that stuff going into a football game.
All right, when you go into a football game, as a coach preparing for a bowl, what was your routine?
Well, you get your game plan in before you get to the bowl site, because after you get to the bowl, there are too many distractions, too many activities. About all you can do is polish and condition the players. I told my players, give me 8 o'clock till noon. You've got the rest of the day. Just don't miss curfew.
Yes, spoken like a true coach. But Miami and Nebraska, they're here to win a national championship, but to have some fun as well. The Huskers and Hurricanes spent a day at Disney's California Adventure. And although no one broke the record set by a Michigan lineman of 11 pounds, both teams loaded up on prime rib at the traditional Lowry's Beef Bowl. And no trip to LA would be complete without rubbing elbows with celebrities at a Lakers game. But it hasn't been all just fun and games for the players. They made a trip to the City of Hope Children's Hospital to spend the morning with some very special fans.
Tell us how the game's going to go.
High-scoring game. Miami will win, probably by a touchdown or two.
Great to see the kids have fun with the players and make their own prognostications as well. But there's another game to be played today on ABC that might help decide the national championship picture. That's the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. With more on that, let's join Brent Musburger and Gary Danielson.
John, Gary and I agree there is one mismatch here favoring Colorado.
Well, we've seen it the last 2 games, that dominating offensive line capable of really running the ball on anyone in college football. But Oregon has the potential to have some mismatches also. They have a movable pocket, a fifth-year quarterback, and a tight end that can take advantage of some of those zones for Colorado. They can move the ball.
Agree with me, though. We're going to have a high-scoring Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. John, Happy New Year to you and Terry.
Brent, Happy New Year. Right back to you and Gary as well. This is a game, again, both these teams are going to say we have the right to play for a national championship. This should be a great game.
It should be. Oregon cannot stop Colorado's running game. Colorado can't stop Oregon's passing game. But if it's close, Joey Harrington, the best 2-minute offense quarterback in the country.
And the winners become automatically the biggest Husker fans in all of college football. Some notes from the FedEx Orange Bowl. Rex Grossman, starting quarterback for Florida, will not get the start. Brock Berlin will get the call. The reason why, 5 players held out because of curfew violations, and we are told Grossman not only was one of them, but he turned himself in.
Well, that's right, and it gives Brock Berlin a chance to play when he was going to transfer. If he has a great start, maybe Rex doesn't get back in. Maybe Brock doesn't transfer.
Yeah, Brock's been talking about, his mother said, in fact, he was going to Miami. Now, the other big news in college football from Notre Dame, significant for a couple of reasons. It ends an embarrassing saga for the Fighting Irish, but more significant because Tyrone Willingham is an African-American at the most visible program in all of college football. That's not lost on him.
Part of my philosophy is that there is a greater good, that we're out there to benefit not just yourselves, that's important, but to benefit others. So is this significant? Yes, I say it is significant. But I am, first and foremost, the football coach at the University of Notre Dame.
Now, Terry, it took some time to get this right. There was a fiasco. But the bottom line is Notre Dame did get it right for a couple reasons. They now have a tremendous football coach. They have a tremendous person. But it also makes a statement because other schools around the country now say, wait a second. If Tyrone Willingham can be the head coach at Notre Dame, the most visible institution in college football, we can hire an African-American as well.
John, you're right. This is like, I mean, to the college football world, this is like electing an African-American president. Kevin White comes out making one of the greatest decisions, I think, in football history, and you've got to feel that this does open doors in the future.
Well, the other thing as far as recruiting goes, we've heard so many years, over the last few years, that Davey couldn't get the players in there. Well, here's a guy who gets players into Stanford. I think he can get these guys in
That's
as well.
exactly right. Stanford's a very difficult place to recruit. You know he can do it here at Notre Dame.
All right, Tyrone Willingham, we give you congratulations. A couple of other scores: South Carolina over Ohio State, Arkansas loses to Oklahoma, and Virginia Tech is down to Florida State. We'll see a bit later. Right now, back out to Sean McDonough.
Thank you, John and Terry. Welcome back live to the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. The crowd here in Orlando being entertained by the University of Tennessee's pride of the Southland Band. We'll return with more from the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl in a moment. Tennessee leads Michigan 24-10 at halftime. They first appeared on a football field in the fall of 1898. The University of Michigan marching band.
Orlando, 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 Orlando.
It's the best and you know it. You'll never outgrow it. Orlando. Hey, Orlando.
Orlando, 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 Orlando.
For living, working, or playing, Orlando has everything under the Florida sun. There's so much to see, so much to do, so many different ways to enjoy life. Orlando, you never outgrow it.
Orlando, Orlando.
Back live at halftime of the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. One of the reasons this has become one of the great bowl games in college football. Annually, the halftime show is terrific. Let's watch and listen. God bless America, and God bless you and yours on this New Year's Day.
The GM Overdrive Halftime Report, brought to you by General Motors. GM, the car company in overdrive.
His ideas, time travel, were ahead of their time. Wow. His theories tested the limits of imagination.
Where do you come from?
I'm from the past. But his greatest invention took him 800,000 years from home. On March 8th, experience the greatest journey through all time. The Time Machine. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, March 8th.
I am a good sport at all times and conduct myself with decency and honesty.
I do my best to get along with others.
And have pride in myself. I put forth my best effort in all competition and always compete fairly. Walk tall, stand tall.
We're big fans of college football at Capital One. The great spirit that players and fans bring every weekend to the game is the very same spirit that made Capital One one of the fastest growing financial services companies in America. Our 20,000 associates are thrilled to be a part of the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. So to all you college football fans enjoying today's game, best wishes for a wonderful new year.
He skis in the Alps, goes boating in the bayou, and drives around the world by himself. Bond, ABC style.
How far do you go?
The Bond Picture Show premieres Saturday, January 26th, 8, 7 Central on ABC.
The U.S. Naval Aviation Choir performing for this big crowd here at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. The military flyover as well. And obviously, as we enjoy a great day of college football, our thoughts and prayers remain with our servicemen and women overseas. ABC Sports presentation of the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station.
This has been the GM Overdrive Halftime Report.
Cameras are rolling. Everyone's watching. 50 grand is on the line. Now, try to control your heartbeat. The Chair, coming to ABC.
Some houses are born bad. Houses like Rose Red.
Dr. Joyce Reardon has found the key
If anyone can wake up Rose Red, she is the one.
that will unlock the secrets
Are you holding the doors and windows closed?
of Rose Red.
We shouldn't be here.
Stephen King's Rose Red, Sunday, January 27th on ABC. Viewer discretion advised.
Pizza Hut? I'd like a medium supreme pizza.
Hi, Marianne. Can Josh stay for dinner?
How much to add a sausage pizza?
Just $4.
Hello. Hi. Oh, hi.
And a meat lovers pizza? Veggie lovers? Pepperoni?
Just $4. $4.
Pizza Hut's amazing $4 deal. For a limited time, buy any medium pizza at regular price and get up to 4 more for just $4 each.
So, you babysit here often?
Pizza Hut, the best pizzas under one roof.
Buying or selling a home can mean the weight of the world on your shoulders. A RE/MAX agent can lighten that load. Averaging more than 13 years experience, RE/MAX agents have the knowledge and expertise to free you of paperwork and do everything in their power to make hassles disappear. Our agents work the kind of practical magic that lets you take your life to the next level. When you're ready to buy or sell, call RE/MAX.
The Orange Bowl pregame show, Wednesday at 7 on ABC 7.
You're watching the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl on ABC Sports.
Back in Orlando, halftime at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl, and Tennessee leads Michigan 24-10. And Ed was 17-0. Looked like Tennessee might run away with the game. Michigan finally managed to get a little something going on offense.
Yeah, Stan Parrish was trying to get Marquise Walker involved, but Tennessee kept showing different looks. So they went to their tight end, started using the backside of the backfield, and then that opened up the outside for Marquise Walker. They got 10 points on their last 2 drives.
I think the big surprise in the game, how easily Tennessee has moved the ball up and down the field against the Michigan defense, one of the best in the nation.
I think with all this time, Casey Clausen, a young quarterback, and all those receivers, some of them hurt during the season, he's got so many things at his fingertips that they really feel they're in stride with these guys. And we've seen a bunch of things that we didn't see from Tennessee during the season.
It will be Michigan's football to begin the second half. They'll receive the opening kickoff of the half. Here's Leslie Goodell.
Well, I talked to Coach Fulmer, and he said that offensively he's happy with the passing game, but he'd like to see them run a little bit more. He knows how good Michigan's run defense is, and defensively he says they've been their own worst enemy. It's the little mistakes that have really caused them to, as Coach Fulmer said, given them what they've got so far.
What they have is 264 yards of offense. And as you mentioned, Leslie, only 57 of it on the ground. 42 of those on one play. The run by the wide receiver, Dante Stallworth. Travis Stevens held in check. He had 9 carries for 22 yards. The 264.5 is a bunch.
They really found a lot of different things they want to do. Got Dante Stallworth really involved. He's their leading rusher in the first half on 2 reverses. Let Kelly Washington, who was a quarterback in high school, go back and throw a pass. I would imagine a lot of the same things. Why get vanilla here in the second half when all of those things were working for them so well in the first?
Alex Walls kicks off to Todd Howard. He has some room. Flag thrown. And Howard down to the 21-yard line. Tripped up by Leonard Scott. It was a relatively penalty-free first half. Only 2 penalties, both against Michigan, and this one's a holding call against Michigan. An injured volunteer on the kickoff coverage, Stephen Marsh, still down on the field and being tended to.
Holding during the return. Penalty is half the distance from the spot of the foul. First down.
Big penalty there because now Lloyd Carr and his offense have to be a little more conservative. But we talked about a second ago how Michigan started getting things going. 10 points, 106 yards in those last 2 drives. Stalled out a little bit, Sean. We were questioning whether they should have taken that timeout as they got down to 1st and goal from the 7, had to settle for that field goal, but they had a nice rhythm, but now a little backed up because of the penalty.
Michigan had just 140 yards of offense in the first half. John Navarre, 9-17 passing for a touchdown, 97 yards. They're through for 97, and the Wolverines rushed for 43. First man through, B.J. Askew. First down all the way to the 25-yard line. That's a gain of 17. Jabari Greer made the tackle. Time now for the Morgan Stanley storyline.
Casey Clausen has really played well when he didn't have receivers. He threw the ball away. Stallworth has been the story, both running and receiving, just about 15 inches short of 2 touchdowns receiving. Navarre has played steady, and he finally got Walker involved at the end of the first half.
Navarre throws it in the flat. Askew didn't see the ball much early in the game as Perry was the primary ball carrier. There's a flag down at the end of the play. Askew has given them a little boost at the end of the first half and here early in the third quarter.
Chris Perry was the running back that Michigan was using, a guy they expected at the beginning of the year to be their #1 back. Had a couple of nagging injuries.
Face mask on the defense. 5-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
And this was the thing, although this is not a big penalty, again, you start to get the feeling that Michigan, good call by the official, that's not a 15-yarder because he didn't tackle him with his face mask. That was Tony Campbell who got a hold of Askew's face mask. But these little things start to add up, and Michigan starting to get some momentum offensively. You don't want to give them any more help.
Campbell in there because Eddie Moore, the leading tackler for the season for the Tennessee defense, has a sprained neck, and he was questionable here in the second half. Navarre on 1st and 10, throwing deep for Bellamy, and he cannot catch it. Jabari Greer broke it up.
You had to wait there for a second. That ball got stuck on the thigh of Bellamy. Bellamy is the guy that they like to go to deep. Navarre, because of the coverage, I believe he purposely underthrew that ball to Bellamy. Bellamy averaging 18 yards per reception. A little physical with those hands, working one-on-one there. Jabari Greer, and still had a shot at it there at the end, but there was some pushing and tugging going on.
For the most part, the officials today have let them play. The face mask penalty against Tennessee was the first of the day for the Volunteers. Askew stopped by Bernard Jackson. Short gain to the 41. It'll be 3rd down, 3rd and 8.
Even though B.J. Askew lined up as a tailback most of this season, very used to that fullback spot. That's what he played for the beginning part of his career. Had moved the tailback with a couple of injuries, and they had hit that little dive quick hit on the fullback from the first play from scrimmage of this drive for big game. That time Tennessee was ready for it.
Two tight ends in the game. Deep drop by Navarre. A lot of time. Throws it out. First down. Bill Seymour, one of those 2 tight ends. A 10-yard gain. He had at least 2 receptions in each of the first 7 games this season, and was held without a catch in 2 of the last 4. They've gone back to him 3 times today.
Both of the tight ends on a little crossing route, and Seymour just stayed with it, got over the sideline. Navarre, really nice job in his progression. Really, those tight ends were just a decoy in the middle. He was looking more downfield. Tennessee had dropped out. Good read.
On 1st and 10, no gain on the run for Chris Perry. Omari Hand, the backup defensive end junior from Tallahassee, Florida, made the tackle.
And it feels like Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator from Michigan, has found his rhythm in calling plays. Although, Sean, it feels like he's getting a little stuck in that first down run mode. And now in a lost yardage play, now it's going to be throw on 2nd and 3rd, unless you get a big play here.
On the gun, the quick throw to Marquise Walker, but nothing doing. Back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Play well defended. Tony Campbell in for Eddie Moore, made the tackle. He's another player who prepped at Fort Union Military Academy.
That's one of those easy throws that they try to establish for John Navarre. Little slip screen to Marquise Walker, but Tennessee was in press coverage that time. John Chavis changing things up because this Michigan offense has found a little bit of rhythm, and he's trying to give Navarre as many different looks as he can.
Play clock at 3, 2, 1 as they snap it to Navarre out of the gun. Over the middle, nice catch by a backup tight end, Benny Jopru, but he couldn't get away and get near the first down marker. Taken down to the 43-yard line. Tony Campbell, another tackle.
A lot of what they're doing, Michigan offensively, is challenging Tennessee now to bring some of their defense in. They've been widening some guys out, especially to Marquise Walker's side. And now Michigan's doing things with that tight end, fullback, and tailback. Michigan now starting to walk some guys in to play those guys, not only for the run that Michigan's trying to establish, but also that inside passing game.
Very high. Eric Parker gets away from it, takes a Tennessee bounce before it's batted back. And they'll spot the ball near the 10-yard line. Actually, they'll put number 16 now. That's where Tennessee takes over, 1st and 10.
You can slow down investing. You can stop investing entirely. But you can't stop daughters from falling in love.
Hi, Daddy.
Which is why your Morgan Stanley financial advisor will never let you lose sight of what you're investing for.
Mom, how did I get my name?
Well, we named you kids after the places where you were conceived.
So that's why I'm named Savannah.
Right.
Some like the redesigned Chrysler Concorde for its engaging style and engineering.
But Mom, how did she get the name Concorde?
Others just like its roomy interior.
Concord, Massachusetts, silly.
Most people don't realize the toll that anchoring the show takes on the human body. You know, these guys really can't afford to miss a show. So they're always pressuring me to give them a boost.
All right, do you want Fred or Barney? I'll take both. Give me some Dino, too. Come on.
All right. Well, it can be pretty ugly. This is your esophagus. This is your ballpoint pen. This is the 9th time. Most of these guys have maybe 20, 30 good years. 40 tops. You gotta keep the pen away from your mouth. What are we doing here?
I know.
So, you think it's right shooting unarmed people?
Well, I don't know if it's right, but it makes a lot more sense than shooting the armed ones. Those guys are dangerous.
The Job is back Wednesday, January 16th on ABC.
The Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Capital One, who asks, what's in your wallet? Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. Chrysler, drive equals love. And your Morgan Stanley financial advisor, who will never let you lose sight of what you're investing for.
Back in Orlando, Tennessee, with its first possession of the second half. Leading 24-10. Casey Clausen, 14 of 19 for 194 yards. He's passed for a touchdown and run for 2. Travis Stevens, another very short gain. And Rumashek chopped him down. It's been a quiet day for Stevens. He did have a 19-yard play on that reception. But they've had big plays from the wide receivers all day. 4 catches for Kelly Washington, 5 for Dante Stallworth, who twice got them down within inches of the goal line. 42-yard run was a key play on 3rd down and 14. When Michigan had momentum after its first score. Clausen on the design rollout. Complete. Out to the 37-yard line, the tight end, John Finlayson. With his 5th catch of the year. Ordinarily, when they throw to the tight end, they throw to Jason Witten. The two of them combined for 32 catches this season. And that's the most in one season by Tennessee tight ends. Over the past 4 seasons combined, UT tight ends had a total of 17 catches. 7 all of last year.
So Gleason was the second read on that one. Witten was the first. He was covered well by Michigan. Good read by Clausen.
Another good throw to another tight end. This one's Witten. Look at him run at 6'5", 265. Touchdown. 64 yards.
Really starting to see the emergence of tight ends in offenses across college football. And if you get a guy at 265 pounds who can run away, that is a free safety, Cato June, that Witten is running away from. It opens up the middle when you spread everybody out and your safeties have to walk out. It's so nice to have a weapon like Witten that can get down the middle of the field.
And the extra point up and good by Alex Walls. Longest reception of Jason Witten's career. He's a sophomore from Elizabethton, Tennessee. His brother plays football. Sean, a wide receiver at Virginia Tech. So most of the family is in Jacksonville today watching Virginia Tech and Florida State. Jason says that's okay. They were at the Cotton Bowl watching us last year. 31-10 Volunteers.
To be sure you're getting the juice, the whole juice, and nothing but the juice, look for the Florida Sunshine Tree. Orange juice with the Florida Sunshine Tree means it's 100% pure and processed to the highest quality standards.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore. And love is all that I can give to you.
Is your dandruff sending the wrong signals?
No.
Get Selsun Power. Doctors recommend Selsun Blue. Man, that dude's awesome. Get Selsun Power.
You can slow down investing. You can stop investing entirely.
There was one man who had a funny hat.
But you can't stop curious toddlers from one day becoming college freshmen.
There was a small man that someone put him in a bird cage.
Which is why your Morgan Stanley financial advisor will never let you lose sight of what you're investing for.
And
2 hours of hard riding, and I was hurting. So I took control with Advil. Not Tylenol, not Aleve. Nothing's proven stronger or last longer than Advil.
You have the strength to get rid of pain. Take control. Take Advil.
Big day for Casey Clausen and the Tennessee offense. 31 points on the board against this Michigan defense that came into the bowl game ranked one of the top defenses in the nation. 12th in the nation in total defense.
Go all the way back to the SEC championship game. Clausen putting together a second really good ball game.
Alex Walls with his kickoff down to the goal line to Todd Howard. And he is sent flying by Tad Golden at the 17-yard line. The aerial view is courtesy of Goodyear. Overhead, the Goodyear blimp stars and stripes, continuing a tradition of appearances at major events that began in 1925 with the blimp Pilgrim. Can't imagine a nicer day to be up there. Not a cloud in the sky. Very little breeze. Navarre handed it to Perry. Now it's a reverse to Calvin Bell. They've run this play a lot here. Bell's a wide receiver, but that's his 15th carry. And Julian Battle and Jabari Greer stopped him after a gain of 11. And we talked with Will Overstreet and the Tennessee defenders yesterday. They knew they had to be alert for a reverse.
It's so hard for a guy like Will Overstreet and some of these defensive ends from Tennessee that run so well, but when the play is away, you almost have to shut it down a little bit. You don't want to be chasing too fast, because once that end gets around the corner, everybody's flowed.
And off to the first man through, B.J. Askew. He's out to the 30. A pickup of 2. Konstantin Ritzman made the tackle. And Robert Peace also in on the play. Ritzman is from Germany. Came to this country as a foreign exchange student. Played only 1 year of high school football in Florida. And then came to Tennessee, in part because his football idol is Reggie White, a great former Volunteer, went on to have a Hall of Fame caliber career in the NFL. DeVar on the run, and a nice catch by the tight end Seymour for a first down at the 40-yard line, a gain of 10.
Seymour once again lined up all the way over here. He's going to run all the way across the field. All he is doing is mirroring his quarterback on a rollout. They have coverage. It looks like a safety, linebacker Tony Campbell is running with him the whole way. But again, Sean, you mentioned it. That's just a great catch by a big man and staying on his route the whole time.
His 4th catch of the day. His season high was 5 against Minnesota. There's another tight end, Benny Jopru, knocked out of bounds by Andre Lott. Jopru had been held without a catch over the last 2 games, and he has 4 catches today. His brother JJ played at Arizona, and his father Sheldon played for the memorable Shreveport Steamers of the World Football League.
Memorable? Memorable
for someone. The 1st and 10 line brought to you by Monster.com. 6 yards to reach the line. They don't get it. They get about half the number on the rush by Chris Perry. Tony Campbell playing again for their leading tackler Eddie Moore, out with a neck injury with another stop. Campbell's been all over the field here in the 3rd quarter, making plays in Moore's stead.
This will be an audition for Campbell going into spring ball. Prove to the coaches he belongs in the starting lineup. But Sean, this Michigan offense has really had tough running between the tackles. I know they don't have great speed in their tailback position, but they need to try to get something to the outside.
Almost intercepted. The pass looked like it was intended for Marquise Walker, and Mark Jones got a good read on it, good break on it, and batted it down. Well, it seems pretty simple that this Michigan offense, with the exception of Walker, doesn't have many dangerous playmakers at the skill positions. They have solid players, but nobody who really puts a scare into you other than Walker. He's really not a take it to the house guy, more of a possession receiver. Wobbly punt by Epstein, and Eric Parker brings it back to the 28-yard line. Midway through the 3rd quarter, Michigan down by 3 touchdowns.
These are quarter carats and these are half.
They're beautiful. What kind of cut is that?
This is a round cut. If you look hard, I'm sure you can see them.
They're fantastic.
Who's the guy? Who is this guy?
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down.
These are 8 carats and these are 10 carats.
Make it a Bud Light.
You can slow down investing. You can stop investing entirely. But you can't stop daughters from falling in love.
Hi, Daddy.
Which is why your Morgan Stanley financial advisor will never let you lose sight of what you're investing for.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Phil.
Do you and Maggie ever think about, swapping?
Oh, yeah, totally. Your wife is into that? Definitely. And the kids.
Kids? Yeah. Okay, here are my keys. Let me get yours.
perfect.
We're in!
Chrysler Town & Country. With a variety of models, available power sliding side door and liftgate, some people just have to try them all.
Hey there.
You're watching the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl on ABC Sports.
Eddie Moore with the shoulder pads off, clearly done for the day. He's had shoulder problems all year. John Chavis, the defensive coordinator, told us that Moore will undergo surgery on Friday, as will Jabari Greer, one of their starting cornerbacks. Thursday and 10, Tennessee, midway through the third quarter. Stevens, tackled by Charles Drake up from the secondary. Dropped that play after a short gain to the 30-yard line.
Seems that the shoulder problems are going around at Tennessee. Anthony Herrera, who is a starting offensive lineman, also has his shoulder pop out 10 or 12 times a game. It's one of those things, once those tendons in the shoulder get loose, they don't get better until they go in. It's just like tying your shoe again. They go in, tighten those things up, and it's about 4 or 5 month rehab to get your shoulder back to where you have full range of motion.
Leonard Scott comes in motion. They hand it off to the speedster. Look out. He almost took it all the way. He did take it to midfield. Todd Howard pulled him down. Scott holds Tennessee track records in the 100 and 200 meters. He won the NCAA indoor championship in the 60-meter dash as a freshman at 6.58 seconds, and won the 100 meters in the SEC in 2001 outdoors.
Last year, he was the second fastest American over 100 meters, 10.05. The only one faster?
You.
Downhill on a bike. Maurice Green.
Now the shotgun. Lawson throws, caught by Kelly Washington. Well, you have to be impressed by the play calling, the Randy Sanders, by the execution of this passing attack today, given that they haven't been able to get the run going. They've still been able to throw consistently throughout the day.
Well, and I think that they knew coming into this game that the strength of the Michigan team, not just their defense, was the defensive front. And Randy Sanders, who took over, remember, you go back to the national championship game in the Fiesta Bowl when David Cutcliffe left for Mississippi. A lot of the question was, would Randy Sanders be able to step in and do a good job? And he did in that game. He's taking exactly what they can get throwing the ball.
More of that philosophy. Stallworth lost the football, and the Wolverines are saying they haven't. One official has indicated they do, and now they all concur. Stallworth, who lost a key fumble in the SEC championship game against LSU, has had a great day today, but he turns it over, and Marlon Jackson recovered the fumble.
And really, Sean, this is Dante Stallworth's second fumble of the game. Earlier, he clearly made a catch. That time, not even really much of a hit by Julius Curry. Usually it's the helmet onto the football that knocked it out. Stallworth, that time, just had that ball out there a little too far when Curry hit him.
Michigan needed something. And they get the turnover to the dismay of Stallworth. Wolverines down 21. In the third quarter. Chris Perry turned the corner. Julian Battle bumped him out of bounds.
Got a holding call that time. It looked like Benny Japru was working on the defensive end, and as he tried to reach block him, right here he's lined up as a wing. As the defender's head comes across, no question, he's got to let him go, working on Will Overstreet. A nice job by Overstreet.
Holding on the offense. The penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat, first down.
Nice job by Overstreet, keeping his outside leverage as a defensive end. Japru doing everything he can. But Sean, if you go back to the running game, Michigan, that's the first time that I really see them try to get the ball to the outside. And I don't know that you want to run it at that guy. This is one of the finest defensive ends in all of college football when healthy. He's had a couple of injuries during the year.
First and 19. Right up the middle. Perry out to the 35-yard line, where Andre Lott made the stop. Gain of 12. Lotzman, a valuable member of that secondary at Tennessee, now a senior. Coaches talk about his unselfishness. He's played both safety positions and corners, bounced back and forth among the three during his career, playing wherever they have needed him most and playing everywhere effectively. Injured volunteer on the play, Albert Hainsworth, the defensive tackle, junior from Hartsville, South Carolina. Walking off, he appears to be all right.
Quite a bit of depth in the middle of that defensive line for Coach Fulmer, one of the best recruiters in all of college football. Always puts together a top 5 recruiting class. Likes to, as an offensive lineman, likes to start with the big fellas up front.
Second down, Navarre, a couple of picks, look out from behind. He just did get rid of it and has his man for a first down, Benny Joppru. 5th catch for Joppru. Will Overstreet was moving in on Navarre from behind, and John just did get rid of it. 9 catches now for Michigan tight ends today.
It's been part of their plan all season long to have the tight ends involved. Sean, you've been mentioning that really the only go-to big play guy they have is Marquise Walker, but all of these tight ends, 6'4", 6'5", 245 to 250, can catch.
On the delay, it's B.J. Askew. For a hard-earned gain of 1, Mark Jones made the tackle. And we tick down near 4.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter here at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl.
Michigan trying to get some kind of in and out of the huddle. I think they need to speed it up a little bit, Sean. Down 21 points. The way Tennessee has played on offense and the clock running, I think they need to get a little more sense of urgency, getting in and out of the huddle and getting the play call in.
Navarre with a lot of time, going deep, looking for Walker. He caught it, but out of bounds. Caught it with one hand, with Teddy Gaines right there in coverage. Reminiscent of that one-handed catch against Iowa that we showed you at the top of today's telecast.
When we talked to Marquise Walker the other day, he said that all the way back to the spring, he knew he had to be a leader. He is not a vocal guy. So he decided to let his play do his talking. That is a spectacular catch. I don't care that it's incomplete. That might even be better than the one he had against Iowa, Sean, if it would have been good.
He's had some mammoth games this year. 5 games of 100 yards receiving or more, including 160 in the last game against Ohio State. Navarre hit as he throws, and it's off target. He was looking for Calvin Bell. Will Overstreet has certainly made the acquaintance of John Navarre. He put the pop on the quarterback right after that throw.
Overstreet was hobbled by an MCL sprain in the first LSU game. Missed 2.5 weeks. Still wears a brace. Not quite 100%, but he's at about 90. And Philip Fulmer said that's better than the 70 or 75% he'd been playing at all year.
John Chavis, the coordinator, says when Overstreet's healthy, he's the best defensive end in the nation. Also an excellent student. Academic All-SEC 3 years in a row with a 3.46 GPA in finance. Hayden Epstein's punt down to the 7-yard line by Zia Combs. 31-10 Tennessee in the third.
Steven, I'm gonna be late.
Where are you going?
School, remember? I'll be back in a couple hours. And Jenny didn't take a nap today. She needs to be in bed by 7:30.
Can we watch TV?
You can have one story. Oh, and please don't get them all wound up. They've got school tomorrow.
I have done this before.
I'll leave my pager on if you need me.
Can we do it?
Do what?
Dad.
All right.
I'll get the music. I'll get the animals.
In the circle of life.
You're home early.
It's 10:30.
Can we do it again?
Right now, Verizon Wireless is giving you time for you and your family, wherever you are.
It's time for the Family Share plan, only from Verizon Wireless. With Family Share, get up to 4 lines on one plan. And now get 3,500 total monthly minutes to share, with nationwide long distance included. So you can call anyone, anywhere in the U.S. and talk all you want. Act now and get up to 4 Nokia phones free after mail-in rebate with activation.
So you have time for all the things that matter most. Only from Verizon Wireless. Join in.
The greatest games in college football are on ESPN Classic. That includes the best games from this past season. Friday, 26 hours of the college football games that made 2001 unforgettable. It starts 9 p.m. Eastern Friday on ESPN Classic. Get ESPN Classic by calling your cable or satellite provider.
Sean McDonough, Ed Cunningham, Leslie Goodell, our producer Bruce Clark, our director David Kiviat, and our ABC Sports crew. Delighted to have you with us as we ring in the new year with the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. Tennessee has led throughout. Clausen out of his own end zone. On target to Jason Witten. Out near the first down marker at the 18-yard line. Marlon Jackson made the tackle. Clausen has been outstanding today. 19 of 24. That puts him over 300 yards for the day at 3:04.
Good call again by Randy Sanders. Michigan was up in an 8-man front showing pressure. Little play fake, and once again Jason Witten was a defensive lineman. He was recruited by Michigan as a defensive lineman, and Casey Clausen has been so efficient all over the field, Sean. He's not limited himself to one side. He's completed some deep balls, but those middle range passes, getting it to his receivers early, Stallworth and Jason Witten, who can run with the ball, that's where their big yardage has come from.
This is the 4th career game of 300 yards or more passing for Clausen. He's completed his last 8 passes. His career high is 362 last season against Kentucky. Stevens still finding little running room. And 1st and 10. He got a yard. Victor Hobson and Jeremy Lesueur made the tackle. And this will be the conclusion of a terrific career for Travis Stevens, who deserves a lot of credit for what he's accomplished and for his perseverance, waiting in the wings behind Jamal Lewis and Travis Henry. Said he knew his day would come. It was never more difficult than 1999 when he redshirted and spent the year with his dad, Leonard, who was dying of colon cancer and did succumb at age 50 to cancer. Leonard Stevens, a career military man. Travis has worn wristbands with his dad's initials. And he runs out to the 23-yard line where Eric Brackens made the tackle.
And I liked the other day when we were talking to Travis about the guys in that recruiting class. Jamal Lewis and Travis Henry, both big-time players in the NFL at that level. And he said, you know, I just wanted to go somewhere where I had to compete. I could have gone to a lesser school than Tennessee and played right away, but he was so patient. He worked so hard during the summer before his senior year. He didn't know he was going to carry the ball 291 times. I mean, he had games like Arkansas with 41 carries. He said, I didn't even have games in high school that I carried the ball that much, but he really paid off.
4 games this year with at least 30 carries. Another completion on 3rd down. To convert it to a 1st down. Jason Witten was tackled by Zia Combs, who was a wide receiver earlier this year and made the transition to defensive back during the year. Most of his playing time this year has been on special teams. That's a gain of 9 on the pass play to Witten.
Witten, one of those guys. Jeremy Stevens from Washington, who had a huge game against Texas. Daniel Graham of Colorado, who we saw in that mold, a big man who can block the line of scrimmage. Now he's split all the way out in motion, coming in from the slot back into an H-back position. So versatile.
There's a great crop of tight ends in college football right now. Position which talent seems to be lacking in the NFL right now, so there will be an infusion of talent at the next level. Tight end when these guys move up. Many of them you mentioned, and others will. Travis Stevens, the 1st down carry out to the 35-yard line. And Tennessee effectively running down the clock, near a minute remaining now in the 3rd quarter.
And now this is where what they were doing earlier, Sean, throwing the ball all over the field. This Michigan front, very active. Dan Rumashek, the best rusher from the outside, starting to show that they're a little tired having to rush the passer and then chase downfield in pursuit. Tennessee being able to establish the run finally.
Getting small chunks of yardage and grass in his helmet. Witten adding to his big day. That is his fifth catch, a gain of 11. He's up to 120 yards receiving. Larry Foote made the tackle.
Larry Foote, a very good linebacker, both against the run and the pass. Such a sure tackler. 26 tackles for loss this year. Led the nation. But he's one of those linebackers. He does not come out of the game. Other than games that were out of hand, he was in during nickel, dime, any situation. He's good against the run and the pass.
Doesn't like the rides in the amusement parks down here, though. He said he doesn't go on the roller coaster, not because he's afraid, he said, but because he has a weak stomach. Clausen taken down. It was Charles Drake on a safety blitz. Although Larry Foote had a good explanation for why he doesn't go on the rides. He said, you know, when you go to the amusement park with your buddies, somebody has to hold all the stuff while the other guys go on the ride. So he's the designated stuff holder.
Sounds like an excuse to me that he's a scaredy cat.
You didn't say that to his face.
No way.
Chatted with him the other day. End of the third quarter. Tennessee leading 31-10. An ABC Sports presentation of the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Great. Credit card bill.
Look at these fees.
Honey?
One rate for purchases, higher rate for cash advances, and those telemarketers.
Relax. We switched to Capital One's new no-hassle card.
Introducing Capital One's new no-hassle Platinum Card. No balance transfer fees, no telemarketing, one low fixed rate.
Honey?
What's in your wallet?
The PCS on ABC continues when Florida battles ACC champ Maryland. The FedEx Orange Bowl, tomorrow night at 8, 5 Pacific on ABC.
Wade here from Plank Road, where we're busy making Ice House, not ads. So, Joey Eves writes, would you do a commercial with scantily clad supermodels playing touch football in the snow? Oh, that was a letdown. We'll make the Ice House, you make the ads.
You know, at Orsman Fairfax Toyota, you told them 2 years maintenance.
And the best price guarantee.
And the 3-day money-back guarantee.
And don't forget the 2-year loaner service.
I know, you guys, even if it means we have to loan our own cars.
Oh, finally.
Get 0% financing on select models, including Siennas, during our Toyotathon year-end clearance at Orsman Fairfax Toyota.
The Orange Bowl pregame show, Wednesday at 7 on ABC 7.
You're watching the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl on ABC Sports.
Back in downtown Orlando, heading to the fourth quarter of the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. Tennessee ball. 2nd and 12, all to their own 44. To begin the final quarter with a 21-point lead. Lawson with a wobbly pass, incomplete. Apparently it short hop Will Bartholomew, who argues the call, and I'd be inclined to believe him. He is the president of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes chapter at the University of Tennessee and has been for the last 3 years. Been recognized by the Southeastern Conference on their Good Works team for his work in the community.
Things starting to slow down a little bit now as Tennessee has pulled back a little bit. They're still working most of their offense. Started getting the run more involved because Michigan's defense has had to chase a lot of balls downfield, starting to wear out just a little bit.
10th play of this possession, a blitz. Lawson hitting the back, what a catch. First down and more. Dante Stallworth. 19 yards on the game. Julius Curry came on a safety blitz, hit Clausen in the back, and they still completed it.
Must be something about the number 4 in this game. That's the second spectacular one-handed catch we've seen. Clausen hanging in there as long as he can. Stallworth runs such nice routes, good separation. And even as the defender comes in and tries to rip that ball out, Jeremy Lasser able to reach it in. Such strong hands. What a good athlete.
7 catches, 111 yards receiving now for Stallworth. With 2 receivers, Witten and Stallworth over 100 yards receiving for the game. Stevens the carry, a gain of 1. For Stallworth, his 6th career 100-yard receiving game. 4th this season. And he missed 3 games after he broke his wrist in the opener against Syracuse.
He had such a great run after he came back. A 3-game stretch against Memphis. He had 3 touchdowns, and then again in the very next game against Kentucky. 2 games in a row with 3 touchdowns. He's the only Tennessee receiver ever to have 2 3-touchdown games, and he did it back to back.
Lawson with a screen to the wide receiver, Kelly Washington. Touchdown, Tennessee. $37 yards. Brilliant play call by Randy Sanders and brilliant execution of his terrific play calls all day long by this Tennessee offense.
Got to give the love out to the left tackle, Reggie Coleman. Watch as he gets out in front. It's a big man, 6'5", 315 pounds. Watch how he locks up the defensive back. And Kelly Washington with great vision runs down inside, but he's got to go back, give a big pat on the head to his left tackle, Coleman.
2nd touchdown of the day for Washington. First 2 TD game of his career. Alex Walls, the extra point. They have a chance to have 3 receivers with 100 yards receiving today as Washington's up to 70 on 6 catches. (38-10) Tennessee.
You've made us America's #1 choice in cars and trucks for 15 straight years. We've been together through thick and thin, at work and at play. Thanks, America.
Many internet services use lots of words to sell you, but conveniently forget to tell you how much they cost. Just for the record, most cost over $20 a month. Meanwhile, Net Zero and Juno are only $9.95, less than half the price. Maybe the others prefer words because the numbers speak for themselves. Join the millions who have united online. Call 877 only $9.95 or visit us at netzero.net or juno.com. Additional phone charges may apply.
Hold on. I lost my wallet and my credit card was in it.
You do have a Capital One no-hassle card, don't you?
Well, don't worry. There's not another human for miles.
Worried about losing your credit card? With Capital One's no-hassle card, you're not liable for a penny. Plus, get the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates and no telemarketing.
One morning in a rugged Wild West town, this local hero vanished. The secret this Rocky Mountain man was hiding is what legends are made of. Vanished Friday.
The Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Capital One, who asks, what's in your wallet? And Ford, America's #1 choice for 15 straight years.
Almost BCS champs. On their way to being Citrus Bowl champs today, the Tennessee Volunteers in control throughout.
Guys like Kelly Washington, Dante Stallworth, Casey Clausen. Of course, they'll have to replace Travis Stevens, but you've got to start thinking about next year that this Tennessee team will be a major player when it comes BCS time in 2002.
Casey Clausen, a career-high 380 yards passing today. 23 out of 29 and 3 touchdowns. Howard faked the handoff, and there is a flag down as Todd Howard ran the kickoff back to the 25. Been a very well officiated game by Dennis Hennigan and his crew of Big East Conference officials.
Right call here. During that fake reverse, there was a block in the back by the Michigan return team. The second penalty they've had that's going to cost them again to back up and be more conservative.
Illegal block in the back during the return. Penalty is half the distance from the spot of the foul. First down.
Let's check in with Leslie Goodell.
Chuck Rowe came here in 1982 to take over as the executive director of Florida Citrus Sports, and this is his swan song. This is his last game. He will be officially retired tomorrow. Is this a bittersweet day for you?
Oh, no, I think it's a great day for me. Great weather, great football teams, hopefully great TV ratings for ABC.
What has it been like for you this long run? I mean, you termed this the best bowl trip in America. Why so?
Well, because of where we're located, Orlando, Florida is the greatest destination in the world for families and visitors and tourists. Why not for bowl games?
Do you have a fondest memory of all this time you've spent here?
Oh, just too many fond memories. Of course, Georgia Tech winning the national championship was a great thing here. And just football in general, college football has been great.
Of course, he's not supposed to have a bias, but he was the track coach at Tennessee at one point and also the head football recruiter, Sean.
All right, Leslie. Good luck to Chuck in his retirement. That's Jabari Greer with the interception of the John Navarre pass. And he nearly brought it to the end zone. Returned it to the 3-yard line. Greer, a sophomore from Jackson, Tennessee, with his second interception of the season.
A little bit of pressure from that front four of Tennessee. Nice job all day of changing things up. John Henderson coming in the middle. And that ball floats a little bit. Looking for the outside, or the inside receiver, excuse me, was Calvin Bell. The ball just didn't come off the fingers of Navarre. And sitting in that pocket, getting a lot of pressure by those orange jerseys. Gets hit right in the mouth, right at the end there by Albert Hainsworth, and that's why the ball floated, and Greer does a nice job stepping underneath the slow floating pass.
They had an interception in their bowl game in the Cotton Bowl last year against Kansas State. Here's Stevens for a touchdown. And the route is on. Tennessee in its first ever meeting with Michigan, pummeling the Wolverines. It's 44-10.
This Michigan defense hoping, we've got everybody packed in the middle, expecting it to go outside, and a really, really nice block by the tight end, Finlayson. Drove his man clear into the end zone. Stevens bounces it to the outside of that tremendous block.
Alex Walls adds the extra point. An unlucky 13-13 remaining for Michigan. 45-10 Volunteers.
Florida's fabled climate is uniquely suited to produce the world's best citrus oranges and grapefruit. The easiest way to be sure that your juice meets or exceeds all federal standards for safety and quality is to look for the Florida Sunshine Tree.
One of the coolest things about Rocky was how he did his training, untraditional methods. We'd be pounding on pot roast, drinking raw egg smoothies, chasing the chicken, all that crazy stuff to make himself tougher. That'd be fit for sequels. Ford F-150, built to last and come in first. Built Ford tough.
Day 15, just 900 feet from the summit.
Day 15. Where's he going? Oh, hey, guys. Just gonna mail my credit card payment.
You mean you don't have a Capital One no-hassle card?
Want a choice of payment dates? Try Capital One's no-hassle card. Plus, get the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates and no telemarketing.
What's in your wallet?
Some see an 8-foot wall as a not-so-subtle message to keep out. 4. Others see it as a minor obstacle to an invigorating day at the course. There you go. Oh! Let's go! The perfect accompaniment to such an outing, Taco Bell. For a little green, you can indulge in great tasting, high-quality fare no matter who you are.
Excuse me, young man.
Think I'll play through.
Hey!
Score a crunchy taco and bean burrito together, just 98 cents. Now with better beef, beans, and tortillas. For a tasty deal, think outside the bun.
In the middle of that group, Jabari Greer, his interception set up the short touchdown run by Travis Stevens. And with 13 minutes and 13 seconds remaining, it's 45-10. The long second half of the season continues for John Navarre. He's just a sophomore. Todd Howard
from the 6-yard line.
Return it across the field. And he's tripped up at the 23-yard line. Leonard Scott made the tackle. Coming up next, the Bowl Championship Series gets underway with the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Joey Harrington and Oregon taking on the Colorado Buffaloes. And tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time, the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Illinois, the champions of the Big Ten, against LSU. That's all today, right here on ABC Sports, home of the Bowl Championship Series.
Illinois, a team that was so fun to watch with Kurt Kittner and Brandon Lloyd. LSU without LeBrandon Tofield. I think Illinois has a lot to play for. They felt like they might have been mentioned in the mix of one of those one-loss teams that deserved a shot to play for more.
B.J. Askew was driven back by Albert Hainsworth. We talked with John Chavis, the defensive coordinator for Tennessee, yesterday. He said Hainsworth is as talented as anyone they've ever had at defensive tackle at Tennessee.
Need a little more consistency out of him.
Tyrese Butler with the catch. Andre Lott made the tackle. Just the 4th catch of the season for Butler, but we'll always remember his first career reception. That was at Iowa in a key spot in the middle of the season. He caught a 77-yard pass from John Navarre, the longest non-scoring play in Michigan history. And Navarre starting to lock in on receivers. Locked in on Butler again. And Andre Lott was ready to pick that one off and take it in had it been on target.
And with all the guys that Michigan lost to the NFL draft, most of that offensive line, David Terrell, Anthony Thomas, this is just not a position that Michigan can come from behind this far down. And you were right, Navarre locking on. He just doesn't have the weapons that he needs.
Epstein's punt, fair catch made by Stallworth. 49-yard punt. And that makes us a highlight today for Michigan.
Ho, ho, ho!
Oh, I hope you didn't put all those on the credit card.
Yeah, why?
Do you know what those interest charges are going to do to us?
Don't worry. I used our new Capital One No Hassle card.
Fed up with exploding credit card rates?
To the neighbors!
With Capital One's new No Hassle Platinum card, you get one low fixed rate and none of the hassle.
Gotta tell Steve and Laura about Capital One.
What's in your wallet?
You've made us America's #1 choice in cars and trucks for 15 straight years. We've been together through thick and thin, at work and at play. Thanks, America.
Red Bull. It gives you wings!
This is the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl.
Back back at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. 11:57 remaining. Sean McDonough, Ed Cunningham, and Leslie Goodell. Tennessee with a 45-10 lead in the ball. Derek Tinsley, the true freshman, now at tailback. He's from Marietta, Georgia. Larry Stevens made the tackle. Just 10 carries during the regular season for Tinsley. They came over 3 games, all of them one-sided, against Syracuse, Memphis, and Vanderbilt. And this is a one-sided game, on its way perhaps becoming the worst loss in a bowl game in Michigan history. It's already the most points they've ever given up in a bowl game.
Well, they're breaking a record that I was involved in. I was a member of that Washington National Championship team. Don't say co. I know we shared with Michigan, Miami. You don't have to rub it in like you like to.
Clausen on the run, goes into a dive near the 29-yard line with Marlon Jackson moving in. Clausen needs 20 yards to reach 400 yards passing today.
And I hope that's not the reason he's still in the ball game, Sean. I mean, you know, this game is out of hand. And he's back, dropping back. And Michigan still has their first-team defense, and there's some guys who can lay the wood to him. I don't know why Joey Matthews would not be in the game under center right now for Coach Fulmer.
Already the career high for Clausen. Huge days for Stallworth and Washington, and the tight end Jason Witten with 120 yards receiving. Clausen is going to take a hit and be sacked back at the 22 by Eric Brackens, the Tennessee native, senior from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. There is a flag down to the 35-yard line. Eric wanted to play for the Volunteers. He was coming out of Gatlinburg Pittman High School. They wanted to come after the first half of his senior in high school, graduate early in December so he could come to Knoxville in time for spring practice. He wanted to stay and enjoy the rest of his senior year in high school.
After the play was over, personal foul on the offense. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. It's 4th down.
Brackens had a local newspaper man, Jim Davis, who was a Michigan graduate, who sent a tape of Eric up to the Michigan coaches. They liked what they saw, started recruiting him, and he wound up playing for the Wolverines. He had to get a lot of tickets for the game today. His mom Betty says many of the family friends called about tickets, but said they couldn't root against the Volunteers. So she told people who were asking for tickets she would help only if they promised to wear Michigan blue to the game today. So most people didn't ask after that. Colquitt hit as he punted it. Julius Curry returns it to the 45. It was 4th down and 24. And I believe it's just running into the kicker.
John, you mentioned how these officials have really let this game be played physically. The referee didn't look like he didn't really want to call it. Nah, I don't even know if he needed to there. I mean, Colquitt was vying for an Oscar nomination with that act.
Running into the kicker on the defense. The penalty is declined. 1st down.
There was a 53-yard punt, so they'll be satisfied with that. Michigan takes over at its own 45-yard line with 10:01 remaining. The 29th annual American Music Awards with Brooks and Dunn, Cher, Lenny Kravitz, Kid Rock, Shaggy, Britney Spears, and more, hosted by Jenny McCarthy and P. Diddy Combs. Wednesday, January 9th, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Gesundheit.
Some of my favorites in there.
Did you just say P. Diddy?
What's that?
Did you just say P. Diddy?
P. Diddy. Used to be Puffy, right? Puff Daddy? Now he's P. Diddy. Sean Combs. Calvin Bell, the intended receiver. Buck Fitzgerald had the coverage. Certainly a great quarterback tradition at Michigan in recent years. You know, for so many years, when Bo Schembechler was there, you thought of more as a running school. But in recent years, they've developed more NFL quarterbacks than any school. They have 6 in the NFL right now. That's more than any other school. And Tom Brady, one of the stories of the year. in the National Football League, and he led the New England Patriots into the playoffs. Good throw there by Navarre to Marquise Walker to the 39-yard line, a first down for Michigan.
John Navarre talked about Tom Brady the other day when he sat down with him about how much he learned. His first year here was Tom Brady's last year. And when you talk to people about Tom Brady and Stan Parrish and John Navarre, all of them, even if he never played it down in professional football or college football, what a great guy he truly is.
Flag down in the secondary. And Lloyd Carr openly says he's one of his favorite players he's ever coached. This pass was intended for Marquise Walker. And it looks like a defensive holding call.
Stan Parrish told us a great story about the first start that Tom was going to make for New England.
Pass interference on the defense. Penalty is 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. First down.
When Tom was getting ready for his first start at New England, he called Coach Parrish and started running through the game plan on Thursday night. And Coach, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And Stan's sitting there thinking to myself, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know any of their terminology, but he just needed someone to talk to, a little nervous. He said, Coach, I'm ready to go. And Stan just had the phone and said, well, just take your steps, take your drops, and go through your progression. That's the best he could do because he didn't know any of the lingo that Tom was using from New England's offense.
Navarre to the end zone. Touchdown, Calvin Bell. Well, he picked a great person and quarterback to emulate in Tom Brady, and he looked like Tom Brady on that throw. 24 yards and a touchdown. And a rare bright spot today for the Wolverines with 9.5 minutes remaining.
Calvin Bell lined up in the slot. As the corner drops him off for the safety had to stay over the top to make sure that was Rashad Baker because of the outside receiver Marquise Walker, and that is the first career touchdown, not just this season, but in the career of Calvin Bell.
He has had 3 rushing, but that's his first touchdown reception. The extra point up and good from Hayden Epstein. 9:32 remaining at the Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl. 45-17 Tennessee.
Here we go.
You gotta love Johnny Cash. The man in black's the kind of guy who doesn't need sparkly outfits, synchronized dance moves. Johnny just bleeds every note till he brings the house down. I'm just saying, don't send a boy band to do a man's job. Ford F-Series Super Duty. Built to toe the line. Built Ford tough.
That's the way to get it done.
A Beautiful Mind, nominated for 6 Golden Globes, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor. 4 stars, a triumph for director Ron Howard. A Beautiful Mind, rated PG-13, opens Friday everywhere.
No time for a splitting headache, so I took control fast with Advil Liquid Gels. Tylenol's no match on tough pain. Advil Liquid Gels are faster and stronger.
You have the strength to get rid of pain fast. Take control. Take Advil.
Here's to you, Mom. The finder of lost socks. The princess of lunch packing. The person who knows whether or not fish can hear. You're my alarm clock. My back scrubber. My morning story. Here's to you, Mom, for getting us waked up, washed off, well-fed, and on our way. The best start under the sun. Florida orange juice.
Sunday, Sydney brings in the new year with a bang.
You're amazing.
And a shocking discovery.
I knew that it was time.
A new Alias. ABC Sunday, 9/8 Central.
Tennessee on its way to its 11th victory of the season. Isn't that nice?
Timeout. Tennessee. That is their first timeout of the half.
Apparently the Volunteers didn't like what they saw when Michigan lined up to kick it off.
Hold on. I lost my wallet and my credit card was in it.
You do have a Capital One no hassle card, don't you?
Well, don't worry. There's not another human for miles.
Worried about losing your credit card? With Capital One's no hassle card, you're not liable for a penny. Plus, get the nation's lowest long-term fixed rates and no telemarketing.
Americans are asking what is expected of us.
What is expected of us?
What is expected of us?
We ask you to live your lives.
Do your business.
Do your business around the country.
Fly and enjoy
America's great destination spots.
Take your family.
Enjoy life.
The way we want it to be enjoyed. Greatness is found.
Greatness is found
when American character
and American courage. American courage.
Can overcome American challenges.
And we will.
And we will.
You've made us America's #1 choice in cars and trucks for 15 straight years. We've been together through thick and thin, at work and at play. Thanks, America.
The BCS kicks off when Big 12 champ Colorado faces Pac-10 champ Oregon. The Tostitos Fiesta Bowl coming up next on ABC.
Michigan lined up for an onside kick, and instead Epstein hits a line drive down the field. Leonard Scott, the only man back for Tennessee. And the kicker Epstein finally got him on the ground at the 40-yard line. 34-yard return when they had 10 men up near the line of scrimmage expecting the onside kick. Our overhead shots today courtesy of the Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, Florida. At the controls today is Captain Tracy Rockhold from Akron, Ohio.
The clear skies that run around, and you think they could give us an update from Jacksonville in the Gator Bowl? You don't think they could see that far in these?
Clear enough today, they probably could. Casey Clausen still at quarterback. They must want to get him a 400-yard game as he's still throwing with a 4-touchdown lead. Dante Stallworth the catch. There have been 3 400-yard games passing in Tennessee history, all of them by Peyton Manning, including once here at the Citrus Bowl in 1997 when Peyton threw for 408 yards.
But against this Michigan front, which is so good at sacking, 46 on the year, led the entire country. I just don't think it's worth the risk, Sean. I think that Matthews should be in at quarterback. I mean, a game that Philip Fulmer is going to go away very happy with this big win, but he's going to have to answer a lot of questions if his quarterback starts taking hits late.
Cedric Houston, another true freshman. He's from Clarendon, Arkansas. Was tackled by Larry Foote at the 50-yard line. Looks to be a little bit short of the first down. That game here at the Citrus Bowl, by the way, for Peyton Manning when he threw for 408 yards was against Northwestern. For a while in the mid-90s, Tennessee was a fixture here in the Citrus Bowl, prompting Steve Spurrier, the Florida coach, to utter that memorable line, "You can't spell citrus without UT." In recent years, they have not been playing here at the Citrus Bowl. The Orange Bowl, 2 appearances in the Fiesta Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl since their last appearance here in Orlando. And as Philip Fulmer says, and he's exactly right, Ed, there is nothing wrong. There's no stigma attached with being in the Citrus Bowl. This is one of the premier bowl games in college football on New Year's Day, a payout of more than $4 million on national television, playing against a great conference of the Big Ten if you're the SEC rep.
And this is a win I think that Tennessee needed in a bowl game, because you have to go all the way back to the Fiesta Bowl against Florida State when they won the national championship to get their last win. There was a question about how they would bounce back from that loss to LSU. And Sean, we got our answer early and often, especially from the offensive side of the Volunteers. Casey Clausen playing very well. But again, I really think at this point in the game, I don't mean to keep beating it up, but he just ran a quarterback sneak, taking more shots. Get Joey Matthews in the ball game.
Cedric Houston carried on 1st and 10 and lost a couple. Norman Hoyer made the tackle. Casey Clausen on the rollout. Throws back across the field. Incomplete. Dangerous throw. Well, obviously there are many flaws in the BCS system. It's not perfect. It just was established to try to do as good a job as you can of getting the two most deserving teams to play for the national championship. And part of it is, as Philip Fulmer says, you put so much attention on that one game, it seems to diminish all of the other bowl games. And we talk about this season for Tennessee. 10 wins going on 11. Philip Fulmer says he has a friend of his, Congressman Jimmy Duncan, who said to him the other day, if I told you at the start of the year you were going to beat Alabama for the 7th year in a row, win at Notre Dame, win at Florida, beat a 10-win Syracuse team, play in a New Year's Day bowl game, play in the SEC championship game, play Michigan, have 10 wins and maybe 11, you'd say that was a pretty good season. But unfortunately, for some people, it's not good enough if you don't get to a BCS game or play in that national championship game. Tony Brown, the catch, tackled by Marlon Jackson.
Well, the other thing that Coach Fulmer said that was interesting about the SEC, you have to win the conference twice. If the SEC didn't have 12 teams, and there's other conferences who have the same setup, but like the Big 12, but very difficult, you have to win that extra game that they had to go and play LSU on December 8th.
As he said, if we had gone down to Florida and lost, we would have played in the Orange Bowl in a BCS championship game. But because we won and made it to the SEC championship game and lost, that took us out of the BCS. So there's something wrong with that system when that can happen.
I don't know how you can figure that out, but it is true, and fair assessment by Coach Fulmer.
Well, he has done a remarkable job and is just now really starting to get his due across the country as the winningest active coach, on the verge of an 11th win. And that's for the 4th time under Fulmer. It'll be Tennessee's 8th 11-win season, and half of them have come under Philip Fulmer. Pass intended for Tyrese Butler, again not well disguised by Navarre, and Lott broke on it quickly and almost picked it off.
But both of these coaches in this ballgame, Lloyd Carr and Philip Fulmer, sometimes you wonder why they don't get the recognition, and I think, Sean, it has a lot to do with their personalities. Kind of soft-spoken. They're not trying to jump in front of the microphone every time that they can. Both of them have national championships. They win conference championships on a regular basis, and if you look at that list, these guys have done fantastic jobs.
The ball comes out. Apparently it was not a forward pass. It's a fumble by Navarre. Tad Golden knocked it out. And Jonathan Goodwin recovered the fumble. The left guard, number 78, the 5th-year senior from Columbia, South Carolina, who was first-team All-Big Ten by the media and second-team All-Conference by the coaches this year. The only returning offensive line starter from last year. His brother Harold was a 2-year letter winner at Michigan in the mid-90s and was a graduate assistant coach for Lloyd Carr during that 97 national championship season. Here's fending off would-be tacklers and fighting his way to the 23-yard line, very close to a first down, where Tad Golden and Andre Lott made the stop.
Obvious Michigan just happy to be in their base offense, down 45-17. Trying to get some work done. You know, that's the one thing I think, Sean, when people start talking about playoffs in college football, I think the number one thing that they will battle, of course, you got to talk to the university presidents, but these coaches are going to be very hard to talk out of the current system, because this is a time where they start to prepare for next year, and I think that's what Michigan is precisely doing with this drive. This offensive line, Lloyd Carr not happy with some of their performances, made a shuffle before this ball game, but coaches are going to be very hard pressed to take out of a system where a lot of teams get to play after the regular season is over.
Well, you could still have a playoff and keep all the bowl games as well.
But the thinking by a lot of people is it just continues to make those bowls, take them so far off the radar screen that the monetary, is that another one-handed catch?
That's another one-handed catch. This one with the left hand, it appeared from our vantage point, by Marquise Walker. 35 yards. This guy is amazing. The play goes to the 42-yard line of Tennessee.
Time and time again, this guy, great coverage by Teddy Games. But again, it's John, he's amphibious.
Askew, the ball carrier. Askew rumbles for another first down. Ninth career 100-yard receiving game for Marquise Walker with that catch. Gets him to exactly 100 yards receiving on 5 catches. You think of some of the things he did this year. At Washington back in September, he had 15 catches in the game for 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, blocked a punt for a safety, returned a punt 15 yards. Against Illinois, he had 6 catches for 108 and a touchdown and threw a 51-yard pass. Navarre throws, incomplete for Walker. Against Purdue, he had 249 all-purpose yards, 134 yards receiving, and 7 punt returns for 112 yards. Marquise at Michigan State, 9 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. And against Ohio State, another 15 reception game, tying his own single game Michigan record for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. Other than that, he didn't do anything this year.
No. You missed my best joke of the year.
You
just let it go.
Just wanted to come back to
it wasn't
so you would know.
Yeah, so the people at home aren't going, what did he just say? Thank you.
You were kidding. In the new year. Calvin Bell, the reception and the tackle made in the open field by Buck Fitzgerald, a senior from Nashville, playing in his final game for Tennessee. His dad was his high school coach, Maurice Fitzgerald, at Pearl Cone. He also had John Henderson on that team. They had a pretty good team. Navarre spun away from the first man, Constantine Richmond, but could not escape from the second. Omari Hand with help from Kevin Burnett.
Constantine Richmond, a guy that Tennessee's going to look to replace Will Overstreet. A fine, you mentioned he only played 1 year of high school football, an exchange student from Germany. A fine outside rusher, getting better against the pass.
Ball thrown into double coverage, intended for Marquise Walker. Mark Jones, the safety, came over to help. So Tennessee holds on 4th down. And the Volunteer fans who remain here in the Citrus Bowl are on their feet saluting the Volunteer D. Here's Leslie Goodell.
Sean, that is a look at the George L. Stewart Trophy. It will go to the winner of today's Capital One Florida Citrus Bowl, and the representative from Capital One here with me, Marge Connolly, will be presenting that award to the winning coach. And Marge, how is this help benefit Capital One and its involvement with the Florida Citrus Bowl?
Well, Capital One has just really enjoyed being part of such a tremendous tradition in college football. I mean, 56 years of probably some of the best college football that you can find. It's just really been a great experience. We've also enjoyed our partnership with the Florida Citrus Sports Foundation. Just a great group of people to work with.
And especially to have 2 such big football schools here participating.
Absolutely. And it's been a great day, just beautiful out here in Central Florida, and we've really enjoyed it tremendously.
Marge, thank you very much. Sean?
I sat next to Marge Connolly at the Citrus Bowl luncheon the other day. She trained as an opera singer and then was in a rock band for a little while. We tried to get her to sing at the luncheon, but she says those days are behind her. Delightful person, and all of the folks at Capital One have enjoyed the week here in Orlando, as we have, and don't want to shortchange Chuck Rowe. You see Casey Clausen still in at quarterback. Executive director of this bowl game retiring. Pass incomplete. Intended for Derek Tinsley. There's a flag down on the play. Chuck Rowe has made this into one of the premier bowl games in college football. He is retiring. He'll be replaced by Tom Mickle, former associate commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference, one of the most respected people in college athletics. A great choice to take this bowl over. And we thank Chuck and Tom, the staff of the Florida Citrus Association, Carol Monroe, Dylan Thomas. We're all excited at ABC Sports because the deal between ABC Sports and the Florida Citrus Bowl has been extended through 2006. So we look forward to many return trips here to terrific Orlando.
Lloyd Carr hopes his next trip.
Illegal formation, only 6 players on the line of scrimmage by the offense. The penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Hoping his next trip is better, but first of all, why are they throwing up 45-17? And second of all, why are they allowing their quarterback, starting quarterback for second-year sophomore, has the last 3 ball games been playing lights out? I'm just going to keep going back to it. I don't understand why Casey Clausen is still in the game.
All I can think of is they're trying to get him over 400 yards passing. He's still stuck at 388. And he's throwing again. to Jason Witten, who was knocked down by Victor Hobson and Eric Brackens. A 5-yard gain. And it's 4th down, so that gets Clausen only to 393. If you can refer to 393 as only.
And if that is the reason that they had him back out there for 400 yards, then I think if they get another possession, he may step back on the field.
Dustin Colquitt to punt. Juggled and lost by Julius Curry, and it looks like Tennessee has it. The Volunteers do at the 26-yard line. Here's John Saunders.
Sean, thanks a lot. Back to you in a moment, but first let's let you know what happened in the Gator Bowl. Bobby Bowden has tied Bear Bryant for 2nd all-time, beating Virginia Tech 30-17. And what's coming up next? The Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Joey Harrington, outstanding quarterback, one of the finalists for the Heisman Trophy, and very relaxed at this point. Bobby Pesavento, though, of Colorado, he wasn't the starter at the beginning of the season, but has been through their run. Sean, it's up next.
And we'll look forward to it, John. Thank you very much. Andre James recovered the muff punt. It's still Casey Clausen at quarterback. And it's Jabari Davis, another true freshman from Stone Mountain, Georgia, with another carry to the 25-yard line.
And now the audition is on to see who replaces Travis Stevens next year. Jabari Davis, a true freshman, Cedric Houston and Derek Tensley, a couple of true freshmen we saw earlier in the ball game, and the Tennessee coach is getting these guys in. Another guy in the mix, a freshman, Corey Larkins, who may figure in. All those guys backing up Travis Stevens on his great season, 464 yards. Right now they can get a leg up maybe on the competition if they get a couple of hard runs going into spring ball.
And a rare carry for Will Bartholomew, the senior playing in his final game. He's from Nashville, out of Montgomery Bell Academy, where he was class president 5 years in a row. We mentioned earlier his involvement in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. His grandfather, Sam, was the captain of the 1939 Tennessee team that was unscored upon. And his dad, Sam, played football at Army. And Will Bartholomew has already graduated with a degree in finance, a 3.76 GPA.
Good blocker, soft hands. Make it into an NFL camp, and he's the type of fullback that NFL teams are looking for. Block and catch the ball out of the backfield, don't ask for it. And Will, as many games as he played, his 25th start today, 0 rushing touchdowns in his career. Had a couple receiving, but can't be greedy when you're playing fullback.
Barry Davis, the ball carrier. It looked like Michigan's Elaine Kashama was offside.
Offsides on the defense. 5-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat 3rd down.
Kashama's from Quebec, from Montreal. The same high school that produced Tim Biakabatuka, a former Michigan running back. This can't end soon enough for Jim Herman in the defense.
Kashama, one of the young defensive linemen that Herman is very excited about. Obviously frustrated today with the performance, but they return a lot of guys with a lot of playing time in that front four. This Michigan defense, although it didn't show today, one of the best defenses in the country, should get even better next year, except for the graduation of Larry Foote, a fantastic middle linebacker.
Davis pulled down by his shirt. So Michigan's season is going to end at 8-4. 3 losses in their last 5 games. It'll end their string of 5 straight bowl victories. And it'll be their first 4-loss season since 1996, which was Lloyd Carr's 2nd year as head coach. 1 year before they won the national championship. Michigan, 4 losses is considered to be a very mediocre year. Dante Stallworth and the Volunteers celebrate. The game MVP, Casey Clausen, leading Tennessee to its biggest bowl win, passing the 28-point margin, matching it actually. Their victory over Miami. And a hug from Vicky Fulmer. for her husband. Once again, the final score of today's game, Tennessee 45 and Michigan 17. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. Stay tuned. Oregon and Colorado in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl coming up next. Now for Ed Cunningham, Leslie Goodell, and our entire ABC Sports college football crew, Sean McDonough saying so long and Happy New Year from Orlando, Florida.